Edmonton City Center Airport, where all flights have been canceled today so that 26 stars of the IZOD IndyCar Series can take off. This is round 2 for IndyCar in Canada, and you better buckle up because round 1 2 weeks ago in Toronto experienced plenty of turbulence. In the course of that one chaotic afternoon, it's estimated that all but one car in the field had contact with another. When the checkered flag fell, rivalries were hotter than ever. Teammates feuded with teammates, and Twitter accounts were on overload. Two weeks later, and emotions remain raw, egos still bruised. As a result of one central incident of contact, the championship points lead is at its widest point this season. Welcome to IndyCar Central on Versus, presented by Verizon, where we'll get you up to speed for today's 80-lap race. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to a very pleasant day here in Edmonton. When we came here last year after the race, high emotion, as Helio Castroneves, you'll recall, was penalized for blocking. We come here this year and we have more high drama, mainly because of what happened 2 weeks ago. In addition to all that, this is a brand new layout here in Edmonton. There were supposed to be practice sessions on Friday. However, everything was rained out, so that too could add to the drama today. Now, the central characters in this drama, they just happen to be 1 and 2 in the point standings, Dario Franchitti and Will Power. For more on that, here's Lindy Thaxton.
Yeah, Bob, certainly lots of heated exchanges after Toronto, perhaps the biggest, Dario and Will. Will accusing Dario of always racing him dirty while he always races him clean. They have not spoken since. They hadn't so far as made eye contact until a couple hours ago. I happened to be right spot, right time. Dario's walking down pit lane. Will's standing there. He looks up and boom, there's Dario. Will nods at him. They kind of snicker at each other and smile a little bit. Dario keeps going. I said, Will, what was that? He starts laughing. Tim Cindric is laughing, and Will says, that is the first time we have even looked at each other since. Bob, we'll talk to both coming up.
It's going to be interesting here today. Thank you, Lindy. Well, we've talked about it, shown you a little bit of what happened 2 weeks ago. Now let's have a more complete highlights package of 2 weeks ago in Toronto. Honda Indy Toronto, the 25th anniversary.
Green, green, green.
Whoa! Briscoe and Kanaan come together.
Tony gives him room.
When your teammate's winning a lot and you're not, you feel under pressure, so he took it on me.
Tagliani tried to make the move on Helio Castroneves. Contact between Helio and Alex Tagliani. Here at troublesome turn 3.
Oh, the Joey, unbelievable! The championship contenders.
Power gets the worst of it.
Now, what you have to wonder is if race control will give Franchitti a penalty for that as avoidable contact.
We hear from race control that Dario will not have to serve the penalty. Full course caution.
He got hit from behind. Yeah.
So the driver second in the championship is going to have his second straight DNF.
The green flag will wave, and here they go 3 wide to turn number 1.
Oh! Marco has contact with Servia to start the whole thing.
We get ourselves a 1, 2, 3 for the Chip Ganassi team here.
Dario Franchitti held on to the lead on the outside.
Rahaal's going to have to move over. Here comes Dixon.
And
he'll take second. And wow.
Calamity corner here.
He survived a wild afternoon of crashing, and Dario Franchitti is the winner.
No, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And obviously, there was contact with Will.
Really disappointed in Dario. I always race him clean, and he always races me dirty.
And Bob, 2 of the drivers that were involved and had their races significantly impacted by contact at Toronto join us here on our Versus set. 2 veteran drivers and part of the drivers committee, Tony Kanaan and Justin Wilson. Let's start with you, TK. How, from a driver's perspective, would you describe that race at Toronto?
Race? What race? You're talking about the crash fest, right? I mean, like I said, I think we should all go back to driving school because it was embarrassing.
Justin, much of the conflict comes from drivers trying to figure out who's at fault when someone's trying to overtake. How do you understand where the liability rests for a driver trying to pass?
Well, right now, I don't think we do understand. I think that's the problem, is the rules state that the leading car has to leave the door open, but we haven't got a rule yet to decide how far alongside you deserve a lane. And I think that's something that's got to come, otherwise we'll keep having these accidents the way we are.
Tony, it's certainly entertaining from a fan standpoint, but from a driver's perspective, how do you feel about this approach that allows for more aggressive driving?
Oh, we don't agree, but you know, like I said, they leave up to us to decide, and then when you leave up to us, that's what the decisions that we make. In my opinion, it should be like on the road. If you get hit from behind, it's the guy behind you's fault. So this is it's a touchy point. We don't know what to do right now.
All right, Justin, this is a new course. Let's get to today. You've won on the previous course. How do you like this new design?
Well, I think it's going to produce a good race, but I personally prefer the old track. I think it was a few more faster corners, a bit more flowing, and it was a little bit more fun for us as drivers. But these big break zones, you'll see lots of action.
All right, thank you guys. Good luck today. Justin Wilson and Tony Kanaan. A lot of conflict from Toronto. One of the drivers that had an issue with one of his teammates is with Lindy Thaxton.
With Scott Dixon. And Scott, you were upset with Graham over a late restart at Toronto. He's on the second Ganassi team. He says you guys have barely spoken 50 words all season. How does this relationship work? Do you consider him a teammate?
Well, you know, Toronto was, you know, hopefully a one-off. You know, it was a tough race, and you know, I think across the board you saw many drivers sort of getting into it with some others, and you know, I will take back, you know, some of the comments I had after the race. It probably wasn't that mature of myself to speak out like I did, and you know, in some ways, in many ways, the teams are very much a combined team. In a lot of other ways, they're not teams. You know, we don't debrief together. You know, there's a lot of separation on that side of things, which may change, you know, with you know, years to come. But you know, what Graham did in the race, I definitely didn't appreciate it. But you know, what happened at Toronto stays in Toronto. I'm not holding grudges. I'm not you know, going to take it to them on the track or anything like that. So you know, hopefully we can get past it, and you know, hopefully have a good day for the two target cars, the 9 and 10, and obviously Target Canada for 2013.
Have you two spoken?
I haven't. You know, I sent him a direct message on Twitter just to try and get his phone number. I didn't have it, so he never replied, and I haven't spoken to him yet this weekend, but I'm definitely going to try and speak to him before the race or after it.
Okay, and Kevin, Scott won 3 races last season, still looking for his first one this year.
And his teammate leads the championship, and he was in the starring role of the conflict at Toronto. We'll hear from Dario Franchitti and Will Power coming up. Stay with us. This is IndyCar Central, presented by Verizon.
IndyCar Central on Versus is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
One of 4 flyovers we'll have here during pre-race ceremonies. Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We are on Canadian soil for the 2nd race in a row, but we've moved about 2,000 miles to the northwest of Toronto. There's our Grand Marshal today, Johnny Boychuk from the Stanley Cup champion Boston Bruins. He had several big goals in the postseason this year, helping the Bruins to win the Cup, which you saw on Versus and on NBC. Boychuk is an Edmonton native. He's here today, and he will get us started with the command coming up in just a little bit. Well, certainly Johnny Boychuk is not adverse to dropping the gloves. He's a tough guy. He'll mix it up, and we were certainly doing that at Toronto a couple of weeks ago, which takes us to our main event.
Really disappointed in Dario. I always race him clean, and he always races me dirty.
If he's pissed off, he's quite right to be pissed off there.
You know, so disappointed in that guy. And he's the one who complains about everything, whinges about everyone, and he's twice done me dirty on the track. Chip would have gone up and said, "You're going to get fired if he gets a penalty." It's just wrong.
He braked really late. I thought, man, that's pretty impressive, but he went wide because of that. So I saw a gap, went down the inside, and he came down and closed the door.
I braked on the left, left him room, and he just drilled me in the right rear.
Ultimately, I'll take more than 50% of the blame on that one. I think he's got some of the blame too.
Does anyone ever penalize this guy?
He's pissed off right now, and he's going to be coming hard too. So just have to keep doing this every week if we can.
Well, the drivers certainly voiced their opinion to us after the race. They then went to communicating with each other via Twitter, which is this generation's version of communication. I like the princess comment there. I'm not sure how Dario felt about that. Franchitti wanted to talk. Will wasn't really interested at that point. Let's find out and let's hear from the two drivers directly. Let's check in now with Robbie Floyd.
Well, now that you've had a couple of weeks since you had that quote there on tweet with Princess Dario, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's done, man. It's done, and you know, moving on. We actually made eye contact today, and there's a bit of a smile. So, but yeah, you know, that's racing. It was obviously a bad weekend for us and a great weekend for him, but you know, we're back in the game here.
We're all pretty tight in the pit, so you made eye contact, but you've not talked to him. He has not talked to you personally, man to man.
No, he hasn't come up to talk to me yet. So.
And you don't want to talk to him?
No, I mean, I'm fine to talk to him. I mean, you know, you forget about these things. You know, it's racing. You know, and I thought he should have got a penalty, but you know, it's one of those things you just got to forget about and move on.
It is what it is. Let's talk about the car. Yesterday, you brushed the wall, hit the wall, actually, in qualifying. How's the car? I heard they had a lot to do last night.
Yeah, I mean, they just replaced that left-hand suspension on both ends of the car. And, you know, it just shows how tough that qualifying session was. Man, I was just putting absolutely everything into it. And, you know, Sato did a fantastic job.
Talking before this interview, one thing that people don't really notice is the negative G's that you get on this course. We talk about the braking zones, but how it affects your body. You were in getting your shoulder worked on. Let everybody know what it feels like inside the cockpit getting sucked forward.
Yeah, well, it's I reckon it must be 3+ G's every time you hit that brake pedal. And we got 3 big braking zones here, so it really hurt the muscle that runs down beside your spine. Just from braking, your head just wants to go forward. So it's physical. It's going to be a tough day. My neck's already sore, and we haven't even made the race yet.
You're antsy. You're ready to get out there, aren't you?
I am, man. I just want to get out and race. I'm feeling really good today, so I'm looking forward to a good, clean race.
Looking forward to that 4th win, Lindy. His very first IZOD IndyCar Series victory came right here at this venue in Edmonton in 2009.
Well, Dario wants the win today, too, and I actually happened to be there and saw the eye contact this morning. Where do you think things stand with you and Will?
Well, I reached out to him at the week after the Toronto race, and he wasn't interested in talking, so I just left things very much in his court to come up to me. But this morning I was walking past his pit, I looked up, and we had a kind of a wry, both of us had a wry smile on our face. You know, it's escalated a bit, I think, because of the situation with the championship and stuff. But right, for me, that's last week's news. It's you know, we want to have a good, clean race here. I took my blame for the incident in Toronto. Will doesn't seem so keen to take his part in it, but that's fine. But it's going to be a tough race. I think he's going to be very strong. Scott's going to be very strong, and obviously Takuma did a great job yesterday. And it's going to be a tough all day here. It's an easy track to make a mistake on.
What do you think makes a dirty racer, and do you think you ever do that?
Well, I think you got to ask other people that. And I've raced in this series a long time, and you can ask any of the people I've raced against, and the number of times there's been contact with other drivers, you could have it on certainly one hand. So I thought I think Will was just frustrated at that point. He seems to forget when he pushed me on the grass here last year, but us drivers have selective memories sometimes. But, you know, last week ultimately was a good week for us. We finished 1-2. And for Team Target, that was a big deal. You know, we're coming to Canada in 2013, and so it was a great day. Before I go, I want to say hi to my buddy Michael Wanzer down there at in St. Jude's. He's having a tough time right now, but you know, Mike is a fighter like not many people I've ever met. So Mike, we're thinking about you, man, and all the Team Target's behind you.
Thank you, Dario. And Kevin, if Dario gets a win today, he ties Paul Tracy and Sebastian Bourdais with 31 wins.
And Michael Wanzer is the son of Barry Wanzer. He's 6 years old. Barry Wanzer is the team manager. Everybody is rooting for you. Keep fighting, and they call him Iron Mike. We'll talk more about him throughout the race today. Well, the result of what happened 2 weeks ago, Franchitti now sees his lead go from 20 to 55 points. Dixon still maybe in the mix a little bit, and then there's a big battle for 4th in the championship as well. Robin Miller, our IZOD IndyCar Series insider, joins us now here on our set. All right, let's go back to Will Power now. I'm just kind of wondering your take on what his mindset is at this point.
It seems to increase daily, Kevin. I'm thinking the Roger Penske people got their arm around him and said, hey, you have got to let go of this, brother, because you are really going to make a big deal out of this, and it's going to grind on you the rest of the season. And you know, Franchitti is the consummate pro. He's already forgot about it. That was last weekend. But Will, he was so upset for day after day after day, calling different people and saying, this is, you know, I'm going to get this guy. Hey, what he needs to do, if he feels that way, put his arm around Dario while he smiles and he says, you're going to be tasting concrete one of these days, brother. I'm just not going to tell you where it's going to be, and go on a race, because it's in his mind right now that cost him the championship. Well, it's going to be tough to beat Franchitti now, but in Will's case, if he really means what he says and he's forgot it, he'll be just fine.
All right, we'll have more with Robin coming up. Another grid walk, a grid run is on the way in a little bit. Well, we had plenty of stories at Toronto. Last year, the story was Helio Castroneves. He still thinks he won this race. We'll talk with Helio coming up.
All my life, I've just been an adrenaline junkie. Speed, risk, danger. I think I found my fix.
Green, 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 green. All clear, all clear. Just looking, keep coming.
Another of our talented rookies, California's J.R. Hildebrand.
Yellow in front of you, stay left.
The guy's, he's looked like a veteran out there every time he strapped into the car. 3 laps to go. Here comes Will Power. He'll dart to the outside. They stay side by side. Now Helio has a bit of an advantage, and here comes the 9 of Scott Dixon. He grabs second. Dixon just forces his way through.
They are going to penalize Helio for blocking.
They wanted to take it away with a drive-through, but he hasn't given it yet.
And a controversial finish, Dixon wins.
It's just ridiculous. I never moved my line. I actually gave room him outside. When you go side by side like that with your teammate, and the guy just literally just take it away from you, it's just absurd.
That was 1 year ago here at Edmonton. Castroneves was credited with 3 wins last year, 25 in his IndyCar career, but he hasn't come very close to victory lane so far this season. Let's check in with Helio with Robbie Floyd.
Well, looking back at that spirited finish to 2010, you can kind of look back and laugh on it now, can't you?
Well, the only funny thing I would say is not getting the checkered flag. I mean, for me, it wasn't. It was frustrated to not only for myself, my team, but also for the entire, a lot of fans, you know. And it was upsetting. I still don't agree with the results, and so hopefully we'll go out there and defend our unofficial win.
Although it was a negative outcome for you, you actually made more fans by that outcome.
It was incredible, the support of the fans. That was very. In fact, coming back here now, a year later, people are like, "Come on, man, do it again, do it again." I'm like, which one? Fight? But at the end of the day, it was kind of a lot of interesting. Hopefully we have more consistent, and they even changed the layout this year, so I don't think we're going to have any problem.
Helio Castroneves trying to exercise those demons of last year, try and get a victory, something he's done every year in the IZOD IndyCar Series, Lindy.
Well, Robbie, a feel-good story here. Japan, the women, win the World Cup. You win pole. Next to Will, you're starting. Dario and Scott behind you. How do you intend to not give in to their pressure and stay up front?
Not an easy one, but I think I love it. It's a really good pressure to have it, and such a competitor, Will, Dario, Scott, being surrounded like in proper racing, that I'm really looking forward to.
There's a lot of chances for problems in the pits. One, you're pretty far back. Two, all 3 of your cars are together. In fact, one of EJ's outside guys has been wearing a bright orange vest and is supposed to today to help you all. And then you ran over Marco's air hose in the morning warm-up, which would be a penalty. How worried are you about issues in the pits?
Yeah, pit boxes are quite tight, and as you said, all 3 KV cars, it's the same spot because of the last race of the qualify. We need to work on really hard and to get everything, give the good space for the teammate, take care of the teammate, each other, but having a fastest pit stop, of course. So rely on to the guys, but I will need to concentrate just stopping the box precisely.
And Kevin, a year of first for Takuma. First pole, first laps led. Will he get his first win today?
Yeah, his best finish is 5th so far, starting on the point for the 2nd time. Well, road and street courses are always very challenging for teams and drivers. In this edition of Professor B, Jan Bikas gives us some insight in one of the key technical aspects.
One of the features that we've been trying to look at this year through telemetry is brake pressure. Now, brake pressure will tell you driving style. How hard is the driver using it? How long do you carry it into the corner? It tells you much about technique. But brake pressure for a driver and engineer can be a bit different. On the steering wheel for Graham Rahal, this top number, I'm pressing the brake, that's 400 PSI, and I have 60% to the front. 60% is way too much to the front. If I jam the brakes now, I'm going to lock up the fronts. If I take my foot off the brake, go to this brake bias adjuster, give it 3 or 4 clicks to the rear. Now look what happens on my percentage. I drop to 55%. That's still a bit more than you want for the front. The range is 52 to 57%. But during a race, certainly the drivers don't have time and really have a different page. They're more watching the fuel than you are brake pressure. But you can change the page on the dash and see that anytime. During race conditions, the engineers on pit road watch that percentage. If it starts to shift, they call the driver on the radio, hey, I need 2 clicks to the rear.
And I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot of those calls from pit road today because, Wally, what we've learned so far in practice and qualifying, those braking zones here are critical.
And great braking zones here. This layout of this new track is so cool because you have a lot of opportunities to pass. But when you have a braking zone like this, it's really easy to make a mistake. We've got 3 spots here. Here's turn 1. And what a driver's going to do, he's going to try to take that car in just a little bit deeper, maybe 5 or 10 feet. That's where you get into a situation where you lock up the front tire, and it's easy to make contact to somebody that you're trying to outbrake. Turn 5, turn 13, same thing. We're going to see a lot of actions in these corners today, but it's a great opportunity to pass, Kevin, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys maneuver it.
Thank you, Wally. And while we have a moment, don't forget to download IndyCar Mobile only from Verizon. Text Indy, I-N-D-Y, to 3406, where you can find post-race recaps with Jan Bikas and much more. Well, J.R. Hildebrand nearly won the Indianapolis 500 and picked up a baby Borg Warner Trophy replica. But instead, he finished second, and he still got something very cool from his team. Just about a week and a half ago, he was presented with his dream car by John Barnes. Gary Pedigo, who has an association with the team and is a former co-owner, helped find it. It's a 66 Chevelle. JR has that now in Indianapolis. You might see him around the streets of Indy with his dream ride. All right, we had Robin Miller up here a few minutes ago. Now he's on pit lane and getting set to accost the participants today. The grid run with Robin Miller is coming up next here on Versus.
It's a family tradition for the Wilsons to win in Toronto. His brother Justin did it 6 years ago. Now Stephen Wilson is a winner in the Firestone Indy Lights.
So you guys have your 1 win for the day.
Want to make it 2. I said it's an all-Wilson weekend, so keep it going. Let's have a good day.
Honda, Indy, Toronto.
You had a good start, got down inside and won. That's pretty good, Chase.
Justin Wilson now running in 7th.
The leaders are really going to start getting nervous that some hot dogs are making early stops.
That's a very good stop for Justin Wilson and Dryer and Reinbold.
It's close between Elio and Justin.
The battle for third, Justin Wilson and Ryan Hunter-Reay at the end of the 4.
All these people here that have made pit stops, they are definitely praying for yellow right now.
Somebody's coming in at 52, 53 to try to hope for yellow immediately.
There goes Dario. There goes Justin Wilson. The Wilson brothers trying to go 2 for 2 here on the day.
Wouldn't that be something? After he had this race in the bag last year, the race slipped away from him, and he's looking for redemption.
Oh, and a crash in 3, a track blocker.
Turn 3's a bit of a mess. Hit your marks really good here, buddy.
It's Dario Franchitti beating everybody off pit lane. Justin Wilson was second. This is going to be awfully close.
Save as much fuel as you can. This is 10 to go.
The green flag will wave, and here they go 3 wide to turn number 1.
It's frustrating to finish a day like that.
And the contact last week relegated Justin to 15th. That's where he's going to start coming up today. He's won here at Edmonton. Drivers are getting set to make their way to their cars on the grid, so that means they should sometime in the very near future come into the view of Robin Miller. It's time for the grid run. Robin, take it away.
All right, Kevin, it's not a grid run today because A.J. Foyt doesn't run for anybody, not even me. Tex, you signed up with Honda. You guys going to kick some butt today?
We're going to try to. You know, the last 3 or 4 races, we've been like 200s of a thousand of second off, but car ran good in practice this morning, so You know, anything can happen on a road course like this, but I think he ran pretty good.
He better, because he doesn't have any time for mama's boys. Excuse me, son, are you in this race?
Trying to.
Well, can't
Not
you
yet, not yet.
All right, now your coroner says you need 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second per lap, I think, would be...
$100,000 a second is the bonus.
We'll get it.
And he probably still owes you from last year. All right, let's head this way. Where's Graham Rahal? Hello, son. Now, look, every time I talk to you, you know, you got mad because I talked to you at Texas, and you said, I want to talk to Weldon. I said, start up front. You do pretty good when you start in the back. You got 3 podiums. How's this thing going to run today?
I think it'll be pretty good. I think our car is strong. I mean, this morning it felt really good. We made some changes overnight that has seemed to work pretty well. So, I mean, qualifying was disappointing for us. I think we all thought we'd be a little further up than that.
Did you tell Dixon which side you're going to lap him?
No, I haven't told him that yet, but hopefully it happens.
Well, he does. All right, now we're going to run because I'm in shape for 61 years old. I'm not like some of these mama's boys AJ's always talking about. Yeah, we don't know anybody. Where is he? Oh, well, get over here. Kanan, call us back. Hey, you know what's good? It's good when they call you back. Okay, son, you don't get to pass nearly as many cars starting 11th.
Only 10, but I'm more concerned that they're going to let me make the first corner right now.
Is there going to be any contact allowed today?
We hope not, but I can tell you there will be plenty of contact. I can assure you that.
All right, thank you, sir. The grid run. Look, they're still bringing the drivers back. Hey, Seb. Live television. You can't use any nasty French words.
What are you running so hard?
Because I'm not a biker.
You can use wanker, though.
Oh. You can use wanker. You can call anybody a wanker you want. All right. You finished 6th at Toronto. What are you going to do today?
Try and make it through turn 1.
He's honest. The French are honest. I like that. All right. Thanks. All right. Now, are we going to do anything about this Dario Franchitti willpower thing? I don't know. They rode around on the truck together today. I'm not sure they were very friendly. My producer's laughing because I'm breathing hard. Don't laugh at me. We'll be right back.
IndyCar Central on Versus is presented by Verizon, official wireless partner of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Approaching time for opening ceremonies here in Edmonton at City Center Airport. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Jan Beekes and Wally Dallenbach. We'll be with you in the booth today. One rewind to Toronto, and Wally, I know you have some strong feelings on some of the moves that we saw.
Okay, first opinion of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at what happened last week at Toronto. I know there's been a lot of confusion with penalties being handed out or not handed out. In my opinion, listen, if you make contact with your front wheel or somebody's rear wheel, it's your fault no matter what. And I think that's one of those things where you got to get your wheel up at least the middle of the car for that person to know where you're at. So that's just one thing I think that should be the call is, listen, if you hit it, if I'm following you to the supermarket, Jan, and you brake check me and I hit you, it's still my fault. And that's why I think it'd be a lot clearer and easier if they called it that way.
Yeah, and if you consider Toronto, and I think Bob mentioned that earlier, 25 out of the 26 cars had contact with someone else. Sure, there were concrete walls that were lining it. It was tight, but the corners here in Edmonton are actually a tighter radius. There's 3 places you're actually going slower than you did in Toronto. I have a feeling still a great potential for fireworks.
One great thing going for us, we have beautiful weather here today. It's sunny and relatively warm, unlike Friday when we had rain all day. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremonies as we get set to get this thing started. A good crowd on hand here for this event here in Edmonton. Good support from the city and everyone as we have had a good turnout for the race here this afternoon.
And now, race fans, we ask you to remain standing and please welcome the singers from Cooper Studios International for the singing of today's American and Canadian national anthems.
Move over.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart as we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons come.
Unfortunately, we understand the power has been lost to the stage, and unfortunately we were not able to bring you the last half of the Canadian national anthem, but please be aware that we are very respectful of all the people who came here.
Canada, we stand on guard for
Great hospitality. Thank you for your hospitality as we have come here to visit Edmonton and see this great race, the fourth flyover of the afternoon here at City Center Airport. Thanks for watching IndyCar Central on Versus, presented by Verizon. Well, this is Edmonton. We can forget all about Toronto. For the second time this month, the stars of the Eyes on IndyCar series will race under the red and white maple leaf of Canada. And after their first stop in the Great White North, drivers left Toronto red hot.
When you tell me I'm a wreck, you say that I'm a mess.
The stupid moves, silly moves, that's what happens.
Oh, those are unbelievable.
Man, really disappointed in Dario. And he's the one who complains about everything, whinges about everyone, and he's twice done me dirty on the track.
Today, the rivalries continue on the tarmac runways of Edmonton. With its wide-open taxiways, there still might not be enough room for everyone's bruised egos to battle side by side.
So here comes Will Power.
They are going to penalize Elio for blocking. And with only 8 races remaining this season, the Penske-Ganassi rivalry has peaked higher than a Canadian Rocky. And as Will Power works to regain championship points, he'll know where Dario Franchitti is every turn of the course. City Center Airport in Edmonton, Alberta. Welcome to another Eyes on IndyCar Series race, the Edmonton Indy. It's a 2.2-mile, 13-turn street circuit here on this airport runway and taxiway. Today we have temperatures in the upper 60s, the humidity 60%, a light breeze, skies mostly sunny, unlike we saw Friday when it rained all day. Yesterday was also cloudy and very cool. It's time to get the command to start today's race. Well, command has been given. Command has been given. Okay.
There's some PA problems, I think.
Yeah, I think we do too. As Kevin told you in the pre-race, Johnny Boychuk of the Boston Bruins gave the command to start the engines, and all 26 cars now firing up along pit lane. So we get set for 80 laps of racing. Now, this race was originally scheduled for 90 laps, but because of the fact that the circuit is a little slower than they thought, it'll only be an 80-lap race to fit into a 2-hour time slot. Let's get more on the track itself from Jan.
And Bob, you heard Justin Wilson mention a big difference in tracks from last year. This is 2010, high-speed flowing corners, but look at the change for this year. Sure, it's the same airport, but you have very long straightaways and extremely tight corners, almost like a street course. Now, see, these are some of the areas. Turn 1, certainly a passing zone. That's going to be the danger zone off the start. Wally has already talked about the heavy braking zones in turn number 5. Here's a section. This is actually the old section of the racetrack. It's very bumpy through 11. Then you get up to 155 miles an hour before a 36-mile-an-hour hairpin that leads on to 170-mile-per-hour straightaway.
Very challenging circuit, and we look forward to all the action that we'll see here this afternoon. Cars now beginning to roll off the pit area. And the 77 car of Alex Tagliani, a little bit trouble getting started, it would appear. Now he's ready to roll, and away goes Alex. All right, so now all cars are rolling. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's race. On the pole, his second pole of the season and second of his career. He won the pole at Iowa on the oval. Now Takuma Sato starts on the pole. Outside is Will Powers. Second row, Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti, the Target Chip Ganassi teammates. In row number 3, E.J. Viso and Ryan Briscoe.
How about Viso? I mean, KV Racing's got 3 fast race cars here this weekend, but, you know, E.J., his best finish was 7th at Texas. A lot of tore-up equipment this year, but these cars have looked really fast. So is EJ. It could be a really good day for him.
Ryan Hunter-Ray and Oriol Servia will start side-by-side in row number 4. Row number 5, Elio Castro-Neves and Canadian James Hinchcliffe. And in the 6th row, Tony Kanaan and Sebastian Bourdais.
While we're talking about KV Racing, remember that Tony Kanaan has already passed 44 cars this year. He likes to come from the back, and he has Sato set up.
7th row, Graham Rahal and Vitor Mira. In row number 8, Justin Wilson and Simona De Silvestro. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, this race has been won from the pole just once. That was 2 years ago when Will Power drove to victory. The lowest that a winner has ever started was 10th. That was back in 2005 when Sebastian Bourdais took the checkered flag first. Fewest number of cautions, 1. The record for most cautions, 4. That happened in 3 separate years, 2006, 2007, and 2010. We saw there that Paul Tracy, one of the other Canadian, has a long way to go. He'll be starting from the last row in 25th position. Now here's our Sunoco pit strategy with Jan again.
And Bob, when you look at these pit range, especially that green range at 29 laps, that is super fuel save. So if you could really save fuel, here are the windows that you get. And Lindy, for the leader, someone like Sato, they have to watch this carefully.
And twice now, Sato has won pole position. Jimmy Vasser, how strategy-wise do you get him to victory lane?
Well, if we can run clean and stay out front, it's pretty straightforward strategy. It's pretty close to a 2-stop race. A lot of it has to do with what the yellows fall, and really just trying to manage the fuel consumption and also the brakes. The brakes could be a problem here. So, but, you know, obviously we got a great starting standpoint with pole position. So we're just going to try to control the race from the start.
Jimmy Vasser running the pole leader.
And, you know, Jimmy mentioned the brakes. Watching the morning warm-up this morning, Sato had some troubles. He you know, went off twice. It looked like he had braking problems. I don't know if they fixed that before the race, but certainly it's something to keep an eye on here in the first few laps.
6 onboard cameras for you in this race. J.R. Hildebrand carries the National Guard onboard camera. Alex Tagliani will have the Firestone on board. He'll be starting in 17th position. Next is Sebastian Bourdais, who has the 12th starting position. Closer to the front of the field, Ryan Briscoe starts number 6. He has the IZOD onboard camera. Scott Dixon will carry 1 as he begins from the inside of row number 2. And also carrying a Verizon onboard camera, the driver of the Verizon car, Will Power, starting from outside row number 1, alongside the pole sitter of today's race, Takuma Sato.
Turn 1 is awfully wide getting down in there.
It's wide. It's wide coming in.
Yeah, very narrow.
Very narrow coming out.
Okay, this is the long backstretch, so to speak. It runs parallel to the front straightaway, which is just to the driver's left here. You see the pace car driven by Johnny Rutherford has pulled off. The cars begin their 2 abreast formation, but remember they have to go through this very tight hairpin turn before they come on to the straightaway. Same piece of turf that shares the front and the backstretch. All right, here we go. Cars lined up nicely through here. The leaders come off of corner number 13 and look good here. Takuma Sato to your right. And the green flag is out. Here we go with the Edmonton Indy from City Center Airport, and a great start. Look how close the field is bunched as they head to 1. Dixon gets second from Power. Is everybody going to make it?
Very nice. Very clean.
They did. Turn 2 here and 3. Now here's turn number 5. Another braking zone.
Lockup. Wow, yeah, Catcher Nevis locked him up.
Oh, we see some parts flying.
Tagliani at the back of Rahal that appeared. And Graham Rahal has a left tire going down. You just saw him going off to the edge of the grass. That contact with Tagliani's wing has cut down Rahal's tire.
Graham Rahal suffering.
I'm sorry, I was just going to Tagliani's got some wing damage. Yep. The right front.
Oh, and 2 cars are spun out here. That would be Paul Tracy and Sebastian Saavedra, and a full course caution. Well, they made it through turn 1 okay, but not through lap 1 okay.
And that's a big break for Rahal and Tagliani.
It looks like that there's quite a bit of damage to Paul Tracy's car, so one of the Canadian favorites will be an early out here. Not sure that Sebastian Saavedra's car is damaged all that much. It doesn't look like it. He's signaling for a restart. But for Paul Tracy, he has severe left side pod damage.
There's another car in there somewhere to the right, isn't there?
Yes.
That was involved.
This is Bourdais.
Look back at Tagliani, comes flying up the inside. You can see all of that carbon fiber getting shredded on the back of Rahal's car.
There's a shot from Tags. He just locked the brakes up and couldn't turn, and that's what happens when you lock those brakes up. You're going to normally slide into something, especially after a restart like that.
Now let's see what happened to Tracy. Whoa.
Ooh, wow.
That was actually Graham Rahal.
Yeah.
So Graham Rahal, when the tire was going down, got off and came back onto the racetrack.
And pretty significant contact with Paul Tracy, but Graham Rahal has the helmet off and he will be out of the race.
We saw Rahal going wide. We knew his tire was going down. He was going wide. What we didn't see is now the conclusion of that. He spun right back in front of the oncoming cars.
The La Montrose safety team and the Phillips emergency crew right there. Everybody appears to be okay, but some serious damage on both Graham Rahal and Paul Tracy's car. So in a full course caution, the first of the afternoon here at City Center Airport at Edmonton, Alberta, and the Edmonton Indy.
Edmonton Indy on Versus is brought to you by IZOD, the official apparel of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's.
Back at Edmonton, where the mess is being cleaned up, Paul Tracy and Graham Rahal's cars are pretty well damaged, enough certainly to knock them out of contention here in the early going. As you saw on non-stop, Marco Andretti also stopped on course, or stalled, but he is going again.
Now watch Alex Tagliani, black and white car, coming up to the far right of the screen, passes 4 cars, then right into the back of Graham Rahal. And Wally, when we had the Open, you said, if I'm going to the supermarket and I get hit from behind by you, that's your fault.
I mean, clearly that's Tagliani's fault. You know, he caused that accident. Here's a great shot. He goes down to the inside, and he just clobbers Graham and, you know, cuts a tire, and then worse things happen following that. Now, you can see Tagliani's got a lot of damage on his right front wing that he's going to have to come in. They'll change that nose. But watch, here comes Rahal back on the track. That's when he collected Paul Tracy. But it ended, you know, Tagliani's mistake completely ended Rahal's day, and for that matter, Paul Tracy's day.
Graham Rahal making that point to Alex.
It's just, you know, it's like, well, what kind of penalty is it? He's going to have to come in and fix the nose anyway and go to the back, but he continues to race. I think they'll come in and fix it.
Let's hope so.
Well, Takuma Sato is the leader of the race. Dixon second. He passed Will Power at the start of the race. Power is third, then Franchitti, Briscoe, E.J. Viso sixth. There's Ryan Hunter-Ray, Elio Castroneves, Oriol Servia, then Tony Kanaan. Behind him, Sebastian Bourdais, then James Hinchcliffe. Vitor Meira is lined up 13th. And Wilson is in 14th position as we see Tagliani making his way toward pit lane.
And this is what the officials would deem a penalty. I know it's odd. He's come in under his own volition to get this change. Robbie?
Yeah, he was coming in to make sure to top off on field, also the wing change. He was having a hard time with brakes locking up on the rear, so he knew he had locking problems. So it was kind of surprising to me that he was being that aggressive on the first lap, because he already knew he had braking problems before he even started the race today.
And Robbie, to finish that story, even though that will not show up anywhere on the box score of the race, the officials say, okay, that's a penalty because he went to the back. They didn't put him there, but because he received service, that's why there's often a discrepancy.
Paul Tracy's very badly damaged race cars is being hauled off the racetrack, as is that of Graham Rahal. We'll be back with more from Edmonton, Alberta.
Under caution at Edmonton, where Takuma Sato leads. We've already had one significant contact, and the result of that is Graham Rahal is out of the race. Tagliani got you from behind. What do you feel about this?
I mean, what do you say? This is 2 races in a row for the Service Central team, and I'm frustrated because our car was really good in warm-up. We had improved it a lot, and these are the types of things IndyCar's got to call. I mean, it's not even close. You know, in a corner where you can barely fit 2 wide, we're 2 wide. I'm inside Hinchcliffe. He runs square into the back of me. I mean, what do you say? Look at that. I mean, it's not even. I don't know.
I'm told he has been given a black flag. Doesn't help you right now.
No, I mean, we're out of the race, and you know, we knew this was going to be a good race for us to gain some points, and instead we're sitting on the sidelines. I'm just really disappointed for the Service Central guys. I really thought we'd have a good race. I had a great feeling about it, and you know, we felt like we could gain a lot of points. We should be 5th in points right now. Instead, we're probably going to end up somewhere outside the top 10. So, really, really frustrating.
Okay, thanks, Graham. We're about to go green.
2 races that he's been taken out that he had a good race car. I mean, it's very frustrating.
And we have been told that even though Tagliani came onto the pits to make that repair, they're going to give him an additional penalty. He is going to have to do a drive-through once they go back to green. That's been confirmed from race control.
I think that's the right call. That's a great call. But now you have been penalized.
All right, well, off of corner number 13, let's see how the first restart of the afternoon goes here at Edmonton. Again, Takuma Sato on your right, and Scott Dixon is on the outside of the racetrack as they get the green flag, and Sato will lead him down into turn 1. But look at the movement in the back of the field.
Clear, all clear, all clear. Right there under corner now. Under corner.
So far, so good in turn number 1, but it was turn number 5 that we saw the action on lap number 1. There's Sebastian Saavedra. He was somewhat involved in that incident with
Power up to second.
They get through it.
Everybody through cleanly. This is the third race that Sato has led both this year and in his IndyCar career. He led at Brazil and from the pole in Iowa. Single file formation pretty much now as they move out of turn number 12.
You saw Conway dive to the inside, so Conway picked up a position in the white car. Now he just lost it. You'll see it way in the back. A great battle up here, and here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay up the inside.
It's underneath Serbia. Very nice. And that, that's such a slow corner there. Like Jan said earlier, 35 miles per hour. It seems like they're standing still. Now we'll see. And these guys had trouble yesterday in qualifying. Oh, we're going to go pretty wide. Nope.
Tony Kanaan thinks better of it. What Wally's talking about is yesterday in qualifying, you saw the qualifying show. Ryan Hunter-Reay very upset with Oriol Serbia, pulled in front of him, gave him a brake check. Now they get by without contact, but Kanaan is coming.
Understand that Tagliani did do his drive-through. Black flagged after that incident on lap number 1.
Wilson right there behind Kanaan, making a little ground on Tony. He was taking a look at Serbia. Lost a little bit of ground there. Looks like Kanaan's got a pretty good car.
Justin Wilson wasn't happy with his qualifying, but was very happy with his car. There he is in the Z-Line design colors. He was very pleased after the morning warm-up, thinks that he can be racy. He's staying right with Tony Kanaan, who we mentioned at the Open, has Takuma Sato set up.
Wilson running in 11th position. On board with Scott Dixon, who won this race last year. Up ahead is Will Power and the leader of the race, Takuma Sato.
Watch the brake, the PSI on the right when he goes down to turn 1. You'll probably see 1,000 pounds of pressure as he goes into braking here.
Saw 1049. That takes a lot of pressure. When I did that, Professor Bean, you saw me push for 400. I was pressing pretty hard. If you're going over 1,000, you're stomping on that brake pedal.
It's almost like that you just stab it really, really hard for a second or so. Then you try to get off it as fast as you can while you're downshifting.
You saw that speed go down to 38. 38 on an airport course.
And we go down to Lindy Thaxton, who's with Paul Tracy.
And he hates this, especially at a home race. Tag penalized, does that even matter to you?
No, not really. I mean, it's just been a massively disappointing weekend for Dragon Racing. And, you know, really the highlight has been generating the money that we did for Make-A-Wish, $90,000 in Canada over 2 weekends. And it's just been really 2 poor weekends for us and frustrating because I want to run well. Everybody on the team wants to run well, but we just haven't had any luck.
Frustrating for him, especially after all day yesterday. No telemetry, guys.
Tony Kanaan is currently in the 9th position.
Now, Kanaan has lost that gap. It looked like he was going to be keeping pressure on the Penske, the 2 yellow cars ahead of him, but there's a pretty big gap. Of course, that'd be to Ryan Hunter-Reay also in his different team, similar colors.
All 3 KV Racing Technology cars are running in the top 10. Sato is the leader, Viso is 5th, and Tony Kanaan is 9th. Watching Ryan Hunter-Reay right behind Elio Castroneves, and he is right behind his Penske teammate, Ryan Briscoe. Here is Sebastian Bourdais. Ahead of him is Serbia. This is for 11th position. Serbia's 11th, Bourdais 12th.
Well, I watch these cars move around. It's great to watch Serbia. You just see that thing from the onboard just sliding across, especially in this section here. Coming up in 10 and 11, they say it's where the car really gets loose through here.
Sebastian Bourdais is a two-time winner here at Edmonton, won in 2005 and in 2007. It's great to see him giving the Dale Coyne car a good run. He had a good run in Toronto and has a good one going here this afternoon.
But Vitor Mira, though, keep an eye on the left-hand side because Vitor Mira is sizing him up. ABC Supply. Robin Miller that was great. Robin Miller saying, you know, a couple tenths of a second, we'll pay you 100 grand.
The driver who has picked up the most spots, actually 2 drivers have picked up 8 positions. J.R. Hildebrand started 24th, now 16th, and Danica Patrick has also gained 8 positions since the beginning of the race. And you can see that also Justin Wilson has gained 5.
Simona locked up the brakes a little bit there. That was the car that was smoking.
Green and white, and you know, for Simona, and well, you know this well, when you have one of those brake lockups and then you get a flat spot on your tire and you're this early in a stint, you're thinking, oh, you gotta be kidding me? I'm gonna drive the rest of this stint with the wheel just vibrates in your hand violently after you get a big flat spot.
Takuma Sato has about a 0.6 of a second lead. Well, it's a matter of car lengths, actually, over Will Power. Scott Dixon, Dario Franchitti, and Ryan Briscoe are the top 5 on Versus. One of the likable guys on the IZOD IndyCar circuit this year, Takuma Sato. They call him Taku. He is currently the leader of the race, having put himself there from the pole position, which he won yesterday in qualifying. There he is. But his advantage over Will Power is very slight. You see back there in 5th position is Ryan Briscoe. He got around EJ Viso while we were in commercial break, and now Viso is under attack from Ryan Hunter-Reay and Elio Castro-Neves. Here's Ryan Briscoe as we go on board with him. His best finish here at Edmonton. He's finished 4th on 2 different occasions last year and in 2009, and was 6th in 2008. So all top 10 finishes for a guy who needs a good solid run here this afternoon. Now this is Will Power.
These guys at the top 4 are just so evenly matched right now. They're just, one of these guys just waiting for one little slip up so they can try to make a move. Actually, the top about 10.
Yeah.
Nice mixture of teams. Of course, this is KV Racing Technology for Sato, followed by Penske for Power, 2 Target Chip Ganassi, and followed by another Penske. So nice mix of teams here.
Power won this race in 2009. He is a 3-time pole sitter here, but not yesterday. And so his streak of 8 consecutive pole positions on street or road courses was broken yesterday when Sato grabbed it from him.
Hear that, Bob? Hear that radio transmission? Patience for 5 more laps. So it's kind of like, hang in there. We want to get to either a fuel number or get pressures that we want, and then they're going to start turning people loose.
Third and 4th, the 2 Target Chip Ganassi cars being led by Scott Dixon. Franchitti is right behind Scott. Franchitti, of course, the leader of the point standings in race number 11 of 18. Kevin?
Bob, during our pre-race, Dario Franchitti mentioned that he wanted to say hello to Michael Wanzer. That's Barry Wanzer's, Michael's dad. He is the team manager for Target Chip Ganassi, and he's on the stand with Chip calling Dario's race. Michael's been in for a fight the last couple of years, and everyone here at the team and in the IndyCar community wanted to say hello. And he's also a big fan of the Firestone Firehawks. So Firestone made a get well soon Iron Mike car. That's what his friends and family call him. So everybody wants to say hello to Mike. We're all counting on you to keep fighting, buddy.
We're riding with you, Michael. There you see the top 4 running very close together, and not too far back in 5th is Ryan Briscoe. Then comes EJ Viso and Ryan Hunter-Reay. rest of the field comes through. There's Danica Patrick, who's running 14th. And back up front as they head to turn number 1 once again is Takuma Sato.
Bob, that radio transmission that we heard about be patient for about 5 more laps, you just get the sense that the 3 cars behind Sato are biding their time, sizing up, see what happens with tire wear. They haven't done a lot of laps on these red sidewall alternates, and in fact Graham Rahal joins us in the booth now. You'd be the perfect person to ask at this stage, what's the longevity like for these red sidewalls? Are they biding their time, or is this case where now Sato's gapping them a bit?
You know, the tires are pretty good actually here. The tire life seems to be pretty good. The red sidewalls, I think they've done a great job with that compound. You know, this morning we ran a pretty long stint on them, and they were pretty consistent. The power down starts to go at the end, but, you know, really I would think that these 3 guys, being the 3 that they are, probably just being quite patient, and I have no doubt that they all have the speed to run with Sato. Just a matter of making the least amount of mistakes.
Graham, nice you could join us in the booth. Sorry you were out so early, but
yeah, it's what do you say? You know, you can see the video. It's pretty clear to see what happened. So it's you know, it's frustrating for the Service Central guys, though. That's for sure.
Lindy is with Jimmy Vassar, the V and KV Racing Technology.
And you've told Sato he needs to save fuel. Does that worry you with Will behind him?
Not at this point. It's always a little more difficult when you're the lead car to gauge how much you can save because you don't want to fall under attack. So we're trying to do the best we can, but also keep ourselves in the front. So
at this point, when do you plan on bringing him in for his first stop?
We're looking at 28, 29.
Back to you, Bob.
All right, thanks. Sato still leads. He has from the drop of the green flag. And another one of their drivers, E.J. Viso, right there, is in the 6th position. 16 of 80 laps completed here at City Center Airport, Edmonton, Alberta. Takuma Sato, the leader.
As City Financial, we were always there to help our customers through life's changes with personalized loan solutions. Now, as One Main Financial, that commitment remains the same. How do I know? I work there, and I live here.
One Main Financial. Your needs, your goals, your dreams.
At Facebook.com.
Next generation 201 horsepower Civic Si. To each their own. Only from Honda.
Seen some pretty good racing in the battle middle of the pack and the back of the pack, but Takuma Sato has things all his way at the front of the field. Saw a good battle there for 6th position as EJ Viso tries to hold off Ryan Hunter-Reign. You also saw some good battling there between Sebastian Bourdais and Oriol Servia for the 11th position. This summer, NBC and Versus take you on a ride. Witness history at one of racing's most storied tracks. It's summer at Saratoga. Coverage continues on Versus Saturday at 5 Eastern with the Diana and the Jim Dandy. It's summer at Saratoga, live on NBC and Versus. With 17 laps completed, we are nearing the point where we should see some pit stops.
Yeah, but keep an eye on Power. Will Power has really closed down onto the back of Takuma Sato. I think he's waiting and possibly trying to pressure him into making a mistake. I'm not sure, Graham, do you agree that he's probably not going to dive bomb him, but he's trying to really put some pressure on him?
I would agree with you, although you know, we were talking about fuel saving and pit stops there a second ago. I think that the 3 guys behind Sato are probably saving more fuel than him right now. You know, Will, Dixie, and Dario are certainly 3 of the best guys at saving fuel. You can hear him there. You know, he's coasting a lot. So he's probably really just judging his fuel saving based on where Sato is. I wouldn't think that he's trying to get by him too aggressively. There's still so many laps to go.
You know, on a track like this,
see, that's what I mean. You know, you wait for someone to do something like that.
Here we go.
Waiting for the mistake.
There you have it.
He's got a half a second later on the brake pedal.
And Sato was on the button. Sato got on his button defensively.
They're both locked up.
And he's going to lose 2 spots.
Yep.
How about that?
That's all you got. That's what you wait for. Somebody make one little mistake and everybody pounces on them.
Exactly. And the track grip here has been so low, you can hear, you know, when they both went to the brakes.
Boy, they're down almost 3 abreast into turn number 1, and Sato does now fall back to 3rd position. He gave Scott Dixon a good battle there down the straightaway, but he falls back to 3rd, and now
Dario.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Here's a move in turn 5. Got it.
Picture perfect, giving each other room. Not what he wanted, but Graham.
Hang on with Dario. Hang on with Dario.
That's
one
spot
little
on.
miscue and
That's spot on here. And this track, you know, where you saw Sato make his mistakes, right here, turns 10, a quick right-hander, 11, 12, this next sequence, it's so bumpy and so rough, and it's so easy to make a mistake that I could see it happening.
How about picking up your braking points? And here's wow,
he almost got the lead.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. But is it hard to see your braking point? You know, on these flat tracks like this, you got nothing to really, you know, say, okay, I'm going to go to this or that before I brake.
It's very hard, and you see the markers there, the little white signs. Those have numbers on the other side, but they're really small here. You know, generally the marker would be a good few feet tall, and here they're pretty tiny.
Up to you.
Well, you know, you have to have low for aircraft, right? In case aircraft's coming in, you got to keep real low.
I guess, although I hope one doesn't land on the runway here.
They did say in the driver's meeting they're going to have bigger ones for next year, so we have something to look forward to.
All right, let's go through the field. Kevin, you're first.
Well, we're within 10 laps of the first pit stop. Will Power is in front. Last year, he entered this race off 2 straight wins and had a 42-point lead. This year, 2 straight DNFs. He's down 55. He just simply wants a clean race. Right behind him, we move back to Scott Dixon, who just moved up to that 2nd position, followed along with Power. His birthday was on Friday, 31, and in 10 starts the weekend of or immediately following his birthday. He has 3 wins, 2 of them coming here, another in 2007 at Mid-Ohio. Dixon's teammate Dario Franchitti is running in the 3rd position. In 18 career IndyCar races in Canada, he has 6 wins, 1/3 of the time he's won, and he's led 47% of the laps so far this season. Still trying to get to the front, Lindy.
Well, we've seen Sato fall back. Jimmy Vasser told him, settle in, be smart. We can see you have brake issues. They've told him to adjust the brake bias and see what he can do with that. A good day so far for him. Hopefully he can fix that, Robbie.
Well, Ryan Briscoe started in 6th. He's moved up to 5th. He had a good car yesterday, but they made mechanical changes like his 2 teammates earlier this morning. He really likes the car now, and he's moved up 1 position into 5th.
EJ Viso, after that, had a good day yesterday in practice sessions. Qualified fifth. They made a few minor changes overnight, and he's very happy with them. But they've told him, keep pushing, EJ, because we cannot afford for you to lose any more spots. Kevin?
Lindy Ryan Hunter-Ray thought he had a good run at EJ Viso a couple of laps ago, but said he screwed up his push to pass. He won the fan voting at IndyCar.com, earning the $10,000 Firestone Tire-rific move of the race at Toronto, recovering from a broken wing to finish third. Robbie?
Elio Castroneves started in 9th. He's moved up to 8th. He was really concerned with the braking all weekend, and not just the fronts, but the rears. In turn 1, it was the fronts that were locking up. In turns 5 and 13, it was the rears. And boy, you don't want to be messing with the brake bias during the race, Lindy.
Tony Kanaan has never had much luck here. He came into this thinking new circuit, new team might just be what I need. In fact, he came into this whole season with no expectations. He says, because I simply couldn't have any. He qualified 11th. He's had a lot of trouble with the car the past couple days. They just asked him, how does it feel? He says it's okay. Robbie?
Justin Wilson in the 10th spot now. He moves up 5 spots, and he was out there running with low downforce. Larry Curry, I talked to him just before he went out today. He said, we're going to give him a car that can go fast, and we'll see what he can do with it. He was concerned about braking. With low downforce, that usually doesn't add the same, but when you're going fast, you can keep guys behind. Just behind him in 11th spot, in the number 19 is Sebastian Bourdais. And really it comes down to, although it's a 2-car team, this team needs a backup car. They haven't had time to do any testing. When I went and talked to him after that last warm-up session, it was like a physics lab, and they're trying to figure out the response in the dampers. Kevin?
Oriol Servia is running in 12th position, and they're going to come in and pit here momentarily. He's dealing with severe understeer. Newman Haas has had great success here, though. 6 times, 6 podiums. Servia was second in 05. Robbie?
Vitor Mera, another low downforce car. He says he likes it that way. He's been doing it since his Formula 3 days back in 2000 and 2001. He calls it the Brazil approach. And right now, Vitor Mera in 13th. Lindy?
Danica's story is inconsistency. She says it's inconsistency with her and the car. In the morning warm-up, locking up the brakes, car not compliant at all when turning the wheels in 7 through 12. 24th in the warm-up, 22nd starting the race today. She was hoping new track, clean slate. Bob, like many others, this has not been a good place for her in years past.
And there you have the top 14. 15th is Hinchcliffe, and Hildebrand, De Silvestro, Andretti, Beatrice, and Kimball are your top 20. 2 cars out, Tracy and Graham Rahal. He's in the booth with us right now. And Oriol Servia is in as we see the pit stops beginning now on lap number 25. Kevin is there.
As mentioned, severe understeer for Oriol Servia, so they come in a little bit early. A lot of dust in their pit area as he comes in. They had the alternate red tires to start the race, going to the sticker black primary tires. They're a little bit harder, might have a little more life, but not quite as quick. Servia's away. That's a pretty good stop.
And Kevin, you pointed it out. Did you see the amount of brake dust that came off of the front? And we heard some of the teams being concerned about brakes. Graham, were you concerned today about wearing out your brakes?
I mean, this place is really tough on the brakes. In fact, we started the race with a fresh pair. Normally you'll bet them in a little bit, but we started completely fresh to get the best brake pedal possible. But yeah, I was surprised even to see that shot, the amount of dust that comes off. But you know, when you think about it, this circuit's got 3 really long straightaways that you know, it works the brakes quite aggressively.
Now, do the blacks and the reds, so it's pretty much your bias the same on your brakes, or does it change if you go to the blacks?
I ran it the same this morning, and it was pretty good. Very consistent. You know, generally what happens on the older tires is the brakes start to wear, the rears will want to lock up. But I think that's something that you can manage over the race distance without a problem. And you know, certainly with these straightaways, you have a lot of time to adjust those things and change the brake bias if need be.
And normally, if you're going to go to that, like if you're going to go to like a little bit more rear, are you just turning? Is it just?
Servia's in the tires and a full course caution. Just made a pit stop.
At turn 6.
That's a huge surprise. I mean, Oriol doesn't make mistakes.
Maybe contact from somebody else, huh? We'll try to find out if that was the case. Anyway, second full course caution on the 26th lap of the race. Here's a replay. Alex Tagliani is trying to get
Conway.
Mike Conway.
Mike Conway. Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't going to work.
Okay, give us your analysis, Graham.
I mean, that's just not a passing zone. You know, when you have to work that hard to be up on the curb to avoid someone. We're in a place where you don't use the curb anyway. That's just not what you do. There is you set them up for turn 13, the last turn. I don't know.
I mean, obviously Serbia had no idea he was there. I don't think it was expecting him to be there either.
No, like I said, that's not a zone you would normally attempt to pass whatsoever.
Well, the full course caution comes at a pretty good time for pit stops.
Had the caution come out and it wouldn't have been for Serbia, that would have been what he wanted. That would have been his free pass to the front. The last thing they wanted was to be the cause of the yellow. They were looking for yellow, but fortunately it was his own.
Pretty big hit there for Oriole. Remains in the cockpit, obviously hoping that the car isn't damaged too badly.
And this is on the backside of what you were talking about earlier, Jan. Wasn't on your pit window.
Yeah,
28, 29 was good.
They're in the window. This
pits are open. Pits are open.
So you will see all of the leaders. Now, one person who did make an early pit stop was Tagliani. Now, he's obviously way back in the order, but he will be a person that does not have to stop.
And Serbia is moving once again. Looks to be okay.
Oh, there goes the rear wing.
There goes the rear wing.
He was just thinking, you know what, I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I had this happen at St. Pete. It's never a good situation.
He's pretty close to pit in, so we'll be able to make it okay.
That's very low downforce. Too much.
Yes, that's for sure. So Tagliani pitted only 5 laps ago. Conway pitted 3 laps ago. So he was also, not only was Serbia, but Conway was coming out in that same sort of sequence, which is why Conway was so racy.
Pit lane will become very, very busy here in a matter of moments. Here comes the field through turn number 13. We're going to begin our pit coverage with Lindy Thaxton as she will be watching the pit stop of the guy running 4th right now, Takuma Sato.
And all 3 KV pits right next to each other could be tricky. I'm told Sato will take black tires and get a tire pressure adjustment, hoping to help with those brake issues. Down to you, Kevin.
Leaders will come in the same position with pit selection as they are running in this race. Power in the first stall. Dixon is right behind him, and then Franchitti after that. Power will change to the primary black tires. Right in front of Scott Dixon. Let's see who's going to win this important race off pit road. Power is the quickest and followed by Dixon. And then Franchitti is just barely going to be out Ryan Briscoe to the cone to hang on to 3rd place.
There the position changes on the Sunoco race off pit road. Sunoco, proud manufacturer of ethanol. So Castro Neves gains 2 positions. Viso loses 2. Briscoe up 1. Sato down 1 to 5th.
We saw Hinchcliffe. There he is.
Yeah.
Now, he couldn't have run out of fuel, could he? Would it be that close?
No, he should not have run out of fuel.
Okay, when they get you restarted, go around 1 time before you come into the pits.
I don't believe he's lost a lap yet.
Yeah.
Which is why they would tell him to go ahead and close that gap, because they don't want to lose that lap. Now there's your answer. He didn't run out of fuel, otherwise it would not have restarted.
Go around 1 time and then come into the pits.
Understand the race control is reviewing the situation regarding Mike Conway, who had the contact with Oriole Serbia.
We just need to close the gap.
We'll await the decision from race control. Hinchcliffe is moving once again. There is Mike Conway. Saavedra, Conway are at the front of the field because they pitted earlier. Stay with us for more Under Caution here at Edmonton and the Edmonton Indy. Back at the Edmonton Indy in Edmonton, Alberta. Mike Conway shown as the leader of the race. He and Oriol Servia got together, causing this situation, this caution period we are in. Alex Tagliani, who was penalized earlier, is in second. Now, we question why James Hinchcliffe was stalled on the racetrack, and there is the reason why.
Get to jam on the brakes to avoid getting in the back of Danica, stall the car.
Now, Wally, during the break, you made the comment, hang on a minute. Now, Mike Conway, who took out Oriol Servia, is leading this race. And I'm pausing because as I am speaking, they are going to penalize him as they did for Tagliani, but it has to be after green. So temporarily, he has the lead with Tagliani. This will be good. Down to
wow.
Close.
Yeah, no
start.
Oh, my. That did not look good mid-pack.
See, this is exactly somewhat of what we saw when I was in the lead in Toronto. Was, you know, guys like to play a lot of games. If you watch Tagliani there, he takes off, and Conway's sitting there jamming on the brakes because he realizes how far ahead he is.
Let's see if we can.
It's one of the Penske cars that all of a sudden
see how far ahead Tagliani is?
Yeah. And you'll see Castro Neves and also Ryan Hunter-Reay all of a sudden turn left.
Well, they had to.
Right.
They were gonna clobber Briscoe.
We want to, you want to stay with them, and then they called it off.
From Briscoe's perspective,
wow. Hey, Viso, what are you doing?
and race control has also told Mike Conway to set the pace for the restart. He kind of laid back there on that one we just had, and Tagliani got out in front, but they want Conway to set the pace here. Take a look from Alex Tagliani's point of view.
Yeah, see, he has to wait. See, he slows down just like Graham said. He's waiting. He says, well, hey, where's the pole sitter? Come on.
See, and that's late. That's very late. We were instructed in the driver's meeting that you go the beginning of pit wall or just thereafter.
Right where that fence was, and they were well past that fence, yes.
And 8 guys wasted an overtake on that aborted restart.
I did that last week, too. So.
Let's try it again. Conway to your right, Tagliani to the left. Then comes Power, Franchitti, Dixon, and Viso. And here we go. We are green this time. And again, a lot of movement throughout the pack. Look at this.
Yikes, Batman.
This doesn't look good.
Still 3 wide.
All clear.
Boy, Elio's caught in the sandwich, isn't he?
That's fun, isn't it, Graham?
That's some good driving there. To not have any problems, I'm pretty surprised.
When it works.
Well, wait a minute. We got to get to 5. This is where we've seen a lot of action. And there we go.
There you go again. Viso.
Yeah.
Viso into Dixon.
That was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Conway's off, too, on the outside.
Everybody gets through 1 so clean, and then they get down to 5 and unplug their brains.
It's it's so hard to explain. I mean, it's just there's such a lack of respect, it seems.
But isn't it too, Graham, though? I mean, it's funny. You sit in the driver's meeting, it's like, give each other room, give each other respect. But if you see an opportunity to take, a couple of positions here, guys are going to do it. I don't care, and there's
Dixon's going wide. He's going wide onto the inside of the curves because he had contact with Viso. He's trying to nurse the car back to pit lane.
We are not under a full course caution. There's Anna Beatrice with damage. Kevin.
We got stuff all over the track now, Kevin.
Mike Hull said your tires are okay to Scott Dixon, but Dixon said there's water in the cockpit and my butt is on fire. So he's coming in right now. I don't think he means literally on fire, but it's not comfortable. He is very hot in the seat right now.
That's a broken radiator.
Percent up here, Scott. We'll take a look at it here.
Viso got into the side of him where the radiator's located, Kevin.
No water pressure here, Scott.
Dixon in. Let's watch and see what they do.
I think he'll be unbuckling and getting out.
Yeah, they're just going to stop and take a look, and there was the signal to shut it off, so another championship contender is going to see his day end early.
Stay in the car, Scott. We're going to roll you out of here now, right away. Just leave it the way it is. Let's go just on these tires. Let's go to the truck, change the radiator. We'll come back out if we need to.
Okay, as you can hear, they are not done for the day. Mike Hull and the crew are going to try to fix this car, but their chances of winning are done. But they will try to get back out and score some points. They've got a big cushion on third in the championship, so they might be able to maintain that here today and give themselves a little bit more of a cushion moving forward. But it's going to be a long repair.
Viso has been restarted and is back up to speed. As we look again at what happened as the field headed into turn number 5, there is Scott Dixon. We're going to have to work on the car behind the pit wall. Here's what happened.
Okay, now if we can stop it right here for a second, I want to highlight something before Dario. Can we stop here? Well, just keep an eye on Dario Franchitti. That was an amazing piece of driving for him to not make contact while you see EJ Viso. And on the outside of the racetrack, watch Mike Conway. He goes off on the exit.
This is Will Power. And Ryan Briscoe. Ooh, he had maybe had
good
some
job
contact
on Briscoe's
with
part too. Yeah.
Parts flying everywhere. And there's a big piece of debris from Anna Beatrice's car.
I think that's off her front wing.
Yep. But we remain under green here. Scott Dixon's car taken back behind the wall for repairs. He has not won a race this year, but he's finished second on 4 different occasions, including 2 weeks ago in Toronto.
See, and this is a smart move on the 9 cars part, because if you watch what they're doing, I mean, they're going to fix this thing and get back out. At the rate people fall out in these races recently, they can still pick up some points. And, you know, as close as this championship chase is right now, where I am, you know, from 4th on back, it's competitive. So any points you can get are good. I mean, even my guys went back to look, but unfortunately we didn't have any drive shafts that were attached to the car, so it didn't work.
There's Sebastian Bourdais, who is running in 8th position. Graham, I do not want to meet under these conditions again, but thank you for your visit to the booth. We appreciate it very much. 33 laps out of 80 completed here at Edmonton. Will Power, Sato Tagliani, the top 3.
Turn left. You have arrived.
Sweet belt. E-reader for textbooks. GPS. Video camera for lectures. Gamepad.
Have you considered this? It's got all that and more than 200,000 apps.
Technology to learn and play on the go. Only at Verizon. Android-powered, PlayStation certified. The Xperia Play by Sony Ericsson. Only $99.99.
TireRack.com is more than just an online tire resource. We're your one-stop online tire know-how, know-who, and know-what. With TireRack's online research tools, you'll know you're getting exactly the right tires for you, your car, and the way you drive it. Speaking of that, know what else? Our prices are practically unbeatable. And that's all you need to know. Buy your next tires at Tire Rack and experience how we're revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
If we catch a good breeze, we could be there by Thursday.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've always wanted to go to Vegas in the summer.
I'm gonna float over some pools, work on my tan, maybe pop over to the golf course or try one of those fancy restaurants.
I knew a Bubble who knew a Bubble who's in a bottle of champagne at one of those clubs, and she was dancing when all of a sudden...
Barbara? Barbara!
Ohio native Graham Rahal has battled his way to the top 10.
Graham Rahal has gained 9 positions.
But to prove he belongs among the elite, he'll have to shift into high gear. Luckily, he's returning to his home track.
Hometown favorite Graham Rahal.
And when it comes to starting a winning streak, there's no place like home. Honda Indy 200 in Mid-Ohio, August 7th at 2.
Welcome back to Edmonton. There you see Scott Dixon. His crew is replacing the radiator. He said it was hot in the seat, and he feels a lot better now. But the big conversation, listening to their radio here over the last couple of minutes, he's obviously quite peeved at EJ Viso. I'm not 100% certain of this, so I have to clarify this statement. But he asked who hit me. He was told EJ Viso. It sounded to me like he said, get me back out there. I want to take him out. He was then later told that Viso is not going to be black flagged because he essentially served the penalty himself through coming in because of the damage. And then there was a conversation with Dixon and Mike Hull talking about it's not right that the person that causes the contact and the damage can finish ahead of the person that suffered the damage.
And so the controversy continues.
I agree with that. I mean, but it's hard. It's a hard call, obviously, you know, because these guys are tore up. They're fixing their car. So, I mean, what do you do? Viso's out there running.
It's going to hurt Dixon in the points. He'll fall 93 back. That's the way the points are right now. Of course, Power is going to gain on Franchitti if they finish the way they're running right now. But Scott Dixon takes a hit. On the racetrack, it's Power leading over Takuma Sato, then Ryan Hunter Tagliani.
Because Ryan Hunter-Wright has just got by him.
Yeah.
So that's a change of position. Now remember, Tagliani cannot run as hard as the other cars because he has 3 laps.
Wow, that was close.
Actually, it's 5 laps less of fuel for Tagliani. He can't be quite as racy, but he's hanging in there.
That was Justin Wilson trying to get by Ryan Briscoe. 6th and 7th. Bourdais running 8th, looking good in the Boy Scouts car.
Yeah, that's a great run for those guys.
And then right behind him is points leader Dario Franchitti. We can see him as we have the shot out the rear of Bourdais' car.
Behind Tagliani in front, backing up behind Tag.
And then comes Tony Kanaan back there in 10th spot.
On board with Bourdais.
Remember, Sebastian Bourdais has been running endurance races. He ran the 24 Hours of Le Mans and some others. And if there's ever a guy that's going to know how to keep your brakes underneath you for a long race, he has that kind of experience.
This is only his 4th race this year for the Dale Coyne team. Finished 11th at Barber, 27th at Long Beach, and finished 6th at Toronto 2 weeks ago.
Don't forget, Wilson's on the reds, where all these guys around him are on the blacks.
One of his races this year, a 6-hour event.
And
Sebastian Bourdais, as you said.
Returns.
Yeah, you're clear right here. Nobody's on the front straight. Leaders is now exiting turn 13.
About 5 laps down, 5 or 6 laps down.
5, yeah.
We're 5 laps down to the lead lap, so we'll see where we get here.
And we'll see if he hunts down Viso.
He went right to the steering wheel. My guess is he went.
Still 50 laps to go in the race. 50 laps.
He went to full rich. Of course, sorry. That adjustment's been taken away. Excuse me. Forgot that one.
On board with J.R. Hildebrand, who is running 15th. And just 1 lap ago, we had this little situation on the racetrack. That's Marco Andretti. And J.R. makes a pass.
That's a perfect outbraking maneuver. Although Andretti's back in front of him.
Yes, he is.
So he must have done a really nice braking maneuver as well.
So Andretti 14th and Hildebrand 15th. Down the long backstretch leading to turn number 13. Meanwhile, back up front, Will Power has a 1.5 second lead, and Sato is under attack. I got that term from watching the Tour de France on Takuma Sato.
You see Franchitti there getting by Bourdais. That is for the 8th spot. And I'll tell you what, Hunter Ray is going to take a look here.
Oh, no!
Not enough.
What was going on? There was no way that was on.
Yeah.
You could see that coming a mile away. He thought about it, and then you think, okay, abort.
That's the same thing he did at Briscoe at Barber.
It looked like he took his foot off the brake to try and get into position when you should have been pushing the brake to get out of position.
Wow. So Sato, the pole sitter and the guy who led 18 laps in this race, is stopped on the race course after contact from Ryan Hunter-Reay. Here it is.
See, right here, he's thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to make the pass, and then changes his mind. I mean, there's no way, Wally, that he's even close.
And as we talked in the opening, that's front tire to rear tire. That, in my opinion, he should be serving a penalty for that. Unfortunately, you know, Sato is back in 19th spot now. And, I mean, you know, you just eliminated a guy from a possible win.
Jimmy Vasser is not unhappy talking to race officials.
That thing running. Come on, let's get it running.
That's a shame right there.
Yep, it sure is. So the Homatro safety team is out. They will get Sato refired, not under a full course caution, local caution only in turn 5.
So he's going a lap down right now. There'll be no passing in here because that's going to be a caution area.
How frustrating is that? Just sit there and watch all those guys go by. You were just in front of.
Wow. That wasn't your fault.
Comes out just ahead of Vitor Mira.
Tagliani is under attack. Captain Nevis right there. Hunter-Reay and Briscoe. And if we call the wrong yellow car, it could happen.
Let's go down to Kevin.
Mike Hull calls the race for Scott Dixon. He's the managing director. All right, your view of that incident. I've heard on the radio what Scott thinks about it.
Well, you know, it's a shame to have a really good car. You know, Scott's car's been a great car all weekend. And to be taken out by somebody that could have used a little more discretion early in the race is difficult to swallow.
Do you have concerns about retribution from your driver that could damage your race car again?
Well, I mean, our guys worked hard to fix the car. That's what we do. We'll just keep racing. And, you know, racing is a funny business. What goes around comes around.
All right, Mike Hull, Target Chip Ganassi on the stand for Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon 6 laps down in 24th position. We have reached the halfway point. 40 laps of the 80 have been completed. We're on lap number 41 as we watch Tagliani in second and still under attack from Ryan Hunter-Reay. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us.
We're all gonna die if we don't get off this bridge.
Death doesn't like to be cheated. Final Destination 5.
Who dies during a massage? Seriously.
Rated R. Starts August 12th.
So what are we gonna do with this?
I don't know. Usual? Sometimes it pays to switch things up. My hair? No. Car insurance. I switched to Progressive and they gave me discounts for the time I spent with my old company. Saved a bunch. That's a reason to switch. Big savings. It's a good look for you. The safety was off.
Out there with a better way. Now that's Progressive.
why there are 5 new Civics. The next generation Civic, only from Honda.
Bob, you're a Big Eyes Out IndyCar Series fan. What can IndyCar Nation do for you?
Driver autographs.
Yeah, we can do that.
Really? VIP access during race weekends.
That's easy.
Exclusive web video for real IndyCar fans.
Not a problem at all.
Can I have your helmet?
Join for free today by clicking on IndyCar Nation at IndyCar.com.
Nice try, Bob.
42 laps completed here at Edmonton, Alberta. And we saw Ryan Hunter-Reay get a drive-through penalty, and he has, as a result, fallen back to 13th position. Given a drive-through penalty because of contact with Sato, and Sato is currently on pit lane, getting his stop and moving back out.
Stay on the left side, but it's no big deal. All right, Bob, I need you to get going. And push, we got an extended window here. We have a chance to get our lap back.
He is 1 lap down in 21st.
Jimmy Vasser, prior to that, was cheerleading him and saying that that was not your fault, and they did give a drive-through to Ryan Hunter-Reay, trying to kind of get that confidence back into his driver.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay had an on-track skirmish, shall we say, yesterday with Oriol Servia during qualifying. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, he felt Servia was blocking him or should have got out of the way while Hunter-Reay was on a hot lap right at the end of qualifying. He got in front of Servia and then brake checked him. And they had a few words. But, I'll tell you what, if you would have done that to me, Jan, if you would have brake checked me,
yeah,
I would have been pretty angry.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether
was that before or after you ran into me on the way to the
supermarket? On the way to the grocery store.
We have a lot of issues, don't we?
Yeah, I guess we do.
I'll keep these guys separated, don't worry. Power has extended his lead to almost 5.5 seconds over Alex Tagliani as we're on board once again with Sebastian Bourdais running in 6th spot, just having a great race for the Dale Coyne team. It's Justin Wilson up ahead.
Frank Keating there in 7th spot. He's made up a couple of spots, but really hasn't made up as much ground as I thought he would, right after that Viso incident.
Well, guys, you're talking about Sebastian Bourdais, and he should know how to take care of the brakes at Le Mans. He's been looking for control on the initial braking all week on turn-in, and he seemed to be really lost trying to find that answer. According to the tire construction, he said at Toronto, they got it right, but it was a differently constructed tire. It had a softer sidewall, and they were really working in the truck to try and figure things out, working on tire pressure, valve, spring. But like I was trying to say in that run through the field, they don't have a backup car to work with to test on a shaker rig. All their testing will have to be done next week when they go to Mid-Ohio.
And Robbie, the reason that's different is they're actually running on a road course tire instead of a street course tire because the original Edmonton circuit was much faster. You might be able to get away with a street course tire here, but for this year, it's road course.
Still right on the rear wing of Justin Wilson. Meanwhile, Elio Castroneves has his best run of the year going in 3rd position. There is Ryan Briscoe, who is right behind Elio. There's Elio in the number 3 car. Believe it or not, Castroneves' best finish of the year has been 4th, and that was at the 2nd race at Texas. So if he continues, this would be his first podium of the year. Elio involved in the big brouhaha last year here at Edmonton when he was penalized for blocking Will Power.
And right ahead of him, of course, Alex Tagliani has a slightly different pit strategy. He can't run quite as hard as Castroneves. In fact, Tagliani is going to have to hit his pit stop in 1 lap, whereas Castroneves has a bit of a window to play with because that's what got Tagliani where he is, was by taking that risk. They already knew they had contact. They had a drive-through penalty. They rolled the dice. As we see Justin Wilson there again battling with Sebastian Bourdais.
Danica Patrick has moved up 13 positions since the start of the race. She is currently in 9th spot, and J.R. Hildebrand has also made up quite a few positions, a dozen as a matter of fact, and he is being shown in the 12th spot. There is Danica. Best finish this year has been a 5th at Milwaukee.
Be an 8th place spot here in a second when Tag pulls in to make his pit stop.
That's right. Yep.
He is about 6 laps away, so we'll have to see what happens between now and 6 laps. Tony Kanaan certainly getting a bit loose off that corner.
Second, third, fourth, fifth on back running very close, but Will Power now extends his lead to more than 5.5 seconds. Over Tagliani, Castroneves, Briscoe, and Wilson. Approaching another pit stop for Alex Tagliani in a few laps. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Toronto, or rather Edmonton, Alberta, as we are 47 laps into the 80-lap race. Second race of the year and the final one in Canada, and Alex Tagliani is on pit lane. Good timing here. We come back from commercial, and here he is. Robbie headed toward you.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Right now, Alex Tagliani's both. He was good in the race, but when he made that contact earlier, he had to come in for a drive-through penalty. Then later on, when he's running off schedule, he actually stalled the car. Right now, they're putting on the brand new set of reds. When you qualify 17th, you can have a couple of sets of reds. He really likes the car right now, but he's really lucky. 9.6 stop, and he still needs to save a little bit of fuel if he's going to make it to the end on yellow. Or he needs some yellows, guys. He's going to make it to the end.
Robbie, that's the key item. You see Ryan Hunter right here by Simona de Silvestro, but Tagliani stopped too early. He is going to have help with yellow. He cannot make it to the end if it were to stay green. So, yes, it was lucky that that strategy worked, but he needs help, just like Robbie was saying.
And a good battle between Ryan Briscoe and Elio Castroneves now for second spot. That's Briscoe now in second. And here is how it happened. Into turn number 1. Briscoe to the inside.
Wow, and you could see Castroneves did not know he was there until the last second. You can see the car turning down to the left, and then all of a sudden, Castroneves jerked the car to the right.
Yeah.
He saw him at the last second, but that was a great pass.
Said, wait, I see myself. No, wait, that's Briscoe.
Yeah.
So Team Penske is first, second, and third. Power, Briscoe, Castroneves. Here's a recap of what's happened so far with Jan.
Before we do, let's just watch Kanaan getting by Bourdais. And that certainly sets the stage for what happened today. Now, from the start, it was brilliant until you get to turn 5. Alex Tagliani, no way, can't make it. Gets into Graham Rahal. We see Graham's tire going down. Look at that, right into the path of Paul Tracy. Knocks him out. Carnage on lap 1, but it was in corner 5. Graham Rahal, who joined us in the booth, lets Tagliani know what he thinks of that. The stewards agree. He gets a drive-through. On 18, lap 18, it's Will Power forcing it up the inside of Takuma Sato, and Dixon almost gets the lead. At least he gets second position at this point. Lap 24, very odd incident, a place where Graham Rahal said you normally wouldn't even try a pass. Wheel-to-wheel contact, that also was a drive-through penalty for Conway. Lap 30, here's the one where E.J. Viso did something very similar to what we saw at Tagliani, but unfortunately this time, Dixon is the car that received the most damage. They got it back out on course. Laps down, they're trying to salvage whatever they might today. And finally on lap 38, Ryan Hunter-Reay from way back gets into position. Nope, not in position. The stewards also agreed that was avoidable contact, and Wally would just say, so far, pretty consistent on how they're reacting to each one of those incidents.
Absolutely. I think all the calls have been dead on today. And, you know, unlike a lot of questions last week, or last race at Toronto, so far today, I agree with all those calls.
And it's an 8.6-second advantage for Will Power. Lindy?
Marco's been pretty miserable today. They asked him, how's the car feel? He said, I don't even know where to start. This thing is a mess. And he actually said, I feel vulnerable out here. He's in and out in 10.9.
Wow. James Hinchcliffe also getting service on pit lane. He rolls back out.
To try and save fuel now to make the end and not to make that window. That car was falling apart.
And so these are those that are rolling the dice on the second pit stop. Now they need a caution to come out before the leaders do to get that kind of free pass we saw earlier from Tagliani. Those guys won't bother Will Power, however.
Despite being penalized, Ryan Hunter-Reay has worked himself back up into the top 10. He is 10th. And here comes Ryan Briscoe on your left down pit lane.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shallow.
Crew goes to work.
Real good, doing a great job here. Just watching. I gotta fill it.
That's Roger Penske.
I gotta fill it.
And when he says, I gotta fill it, means that if you're gonna do this alternate strategy, you have to have every drop of ethanol or it's not gonna work. Now, Roger Penske made that call because he has obviously determined there will be a caution between now and when the leaders pit. At least that's what he's banking on. And so we'll see if he's called that right.
Comes out just ahead of Sebastian Saavedra, who is running in 14th position. Here's Will, still setting the pace. He has led 31 of 51 laps so far, and the lead is a monstrous one. It is almost 9 seconds over his teammate Elio Castroneves. Now running in third because Ryan Briscoe pitted, is Justin Wilson, and right behind him is Dario Franchitti. Then comes Kanaan running in 5th. On board with Sebastian Bourdais. Whoa, all crossed up.
And it is really wet out there. He did a nice job of bringing that back on because it's like a swamp.
Looked like the car got loose when he went to turn in. He went to correct it, just ran out of asphalt.
Bourdais is currently in 7th.
Boy Scouts will be proud of that move. That was nicely done.
Conway is in, Kevin.
He is one of those that has also served a penalty today, but he's still essentially on the same strategy. But like Ryan Briscoe, he'd love to see a yellow here in the next lap or two. Most of the leaders should be in within 2 to 3 laps. Conway stays on the lead lap, and he's still in the mix.
And he comes out just ahead of Takuma Sato, running back in 22nd, but Sato is a lap down.
Nicely done.
Yep.
Well, no, he overshot a bit.
And the leader is on pit lane. Will Power comes to the attention of his crew, Kevin.
Here comes Will Power, his final stop of the day. He said today all he wants is a clean race. Don't let anyone hit me. So far, so good. He's been able to now stay out in front of the melee. He's going to scuff reds. He wanted no changes. The car has been perfect today for Will Power, and he's one more green stint away from getting back to victory lane.
All clear. All clear.
And we saw Justin Wilson lose a position to Dario Franchitti. So Castroneves is the leader, and then Franchitti currently runs in 2nd spot.
And Hunter-Reay just got by Mirror. That was for 5th spot.
Yep. Here comes Dario to the inside of Justin.
Perfect positioning, gets off of the brakes to keep that rolling speed. It's one thing to take position, but then while you have to take that energy and get off the brake pedal, that shot him through with a good exit. And Wilson's back by him.
Wow.
Go Justin.
How about that? Let's see if there's a move made into 13. Nope. So Justin Wilson runs 2nd to Elio. And here comes Wilson in for his pit stop.
Oh, look at the brake smoke. That's where the speed limit starts, obviously, and he left at the last moment.
Square that thing up. Square it up.
Danica Patrick's also in. Robbie.
Well, Justin Wilson pulls in, taking off those red Firestones. When I was talking to everybody earlier, they said that he actually likes the blacks. better than the Reds. The Reds are softer, but when the car works better on blacks, you go back with them. Looks like Danica Patrick in for a change just behind. I think I saw red as well, but Justin Wilson able to beat her out of the pits. And Wilson has the tires, but he prefers the primary black Firestone Firehawk.
Simona De Silvestro also.
And here comes Briscoe. This will be. Oh, Justin! He couldn't get it stopped. Couldn't get it stopped, and Briscoe gets by.
Which is easy to do on cold tires.
Yeah.
After you make a pit stop, you get on those brakes. Everything's hot, your pads and your rotors, but the tires are cold and slick, and boy, you can lock them up very easy, as you just saw him do.
Danica Patrick, as you saw, also made a pit stop. Nice, clean, fast stop for Danica. She comes out just ahead of Alex Tagliani. And here is Elio on pit lane, the leader. Given credit for leading one lap, and now here he is for his stop.
4, 3, 2, 1. Hit your mark. Hit your mark.
They're going to need a 1-second pit stop if they're going to get out anywhere close to power.
Franchitti stayed out on the racetrack. The fuel save master didn't need to stop.
Nice job. Nice job.
There's power on the front straightaway.
And the guy's going to drop in right behind him, but quite a bit of racetrack will separate them. And then here comes the third place car of Briscoe, and there is Ryan Hunter-Reay completing his stop.
To the dotted line.
I think you said Briscoe, Bob. That's the other Ryan. Because remember, Briscoe's pitted. That was just, we saw the front end of Ryan Hunter-Reay's stop.
Yeah, we saw Briscoe, though, behind Castro Neves. And Simona De Silvestro is stopped. This could bring out a full course caution.
Still running, judging by the, well, it looked like it from the heat.
Maybe trying to get it in reverse. Meanwhile, Franchitti pits. And this will give Will Power the lead back once again as Dario comes down pit lane. Long way down here. Finally, he arrives.
Sure enough, there goes Power. Now let's see if I think that Castro Neves, yes, gets by him easily.
Dario comes out third. So there you have it. A round of pit stops completed, and we're still showing Will Power as the leader by 3.3 seconds now over Castro Neves. Franchitti, Briscoe, and Kanaan are your top 5 with 57 laps completed.
There's a reason why. In 6 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
100 years of racing. To appreciate what that means, you need to start back in 1911. The inaugural Indianapolis 500-mile race. Ray Haroon won that year, and as he crossed the finish line that day on his Firestone tires, he surely had no idea what he was starting. A legacy of guts, grit, and determination on big tracks and small, famous tracks, and those not so famous. We raced, and we raced to win. Anywhere, any place, anytime. And over the years, as the cars got faster and the crowds grew bigger, a century passed. A century of building on the things we learned, of helping great men and women do great things. And still, it goes on. Because you see, just like old Ray would tell you, or Mario, or Al, Sam, or Elio, once you get that checkered flag fever, you can't shake it. You can only feed it. So what does it all mean? Looking back, it's pretty clear. Even after a century, there really is no finish line. Firestone, celebrating 100 years of racing.
Well, Sunday, August 7th, the Eyes on IndyCar Series continues here on Versus with the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio as the points battle between Dario and Will Power will resume. The Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio Sunday, August 7th at 2 o'clock Eastern here on Versus. Love going to the rolling hills of Mid-Ohio.
You know, guys, Castroneves, before these guys made pit stop, don't forget, Power went in with about an 8 or 9 second lead. And all of a sudden, Castroneves he's less than a second behind the leader. He is catching them.
Yep.
In and out laps, both faster than Power.
Now, he's used a couple of overtakes more than Power.
Now, Dario Franchitti is currently running third, and he has done quite a job of making up position since we had this little incident earlier in the race.
And that was going into turn number 5. We're going to wait to watch to see if Castroneves might make a move before we go to that replay, but so far it looks like he's behind his teammate.
Power got off the corner a little bit better, so he's not really in position there.
So as we were saying, when Dario was going into turn number 5, he did an amazing job of driving first. This is where Franchitti is located right there. Now, if you let the tape roll, he initially thought he might go to the inside, and then he sees what Viso's doing. He gets hard on the binders, and he avoids any contact. But look how many cars stream by him. A fantastic way of avoiding contact, but he lost tons of track position. I think, Bob, you mentioned he's been as far back as 13th. Right there, he thought about Wally making a move, and then when he saw what Viso was doing, he said, I'm getting out of it totally.
Yeah, he got through that absolutely clean. He almost had to stop in order to do that, but like you said, he lost a lot of positions, but got a very good race car, and he's only 2.5 seconds behind the leader right now. So the way things have cycled through, he's in good shape. But this is the most pressure that Power's had on him pretty much all day. And you know Castroneves wants it. I mean, he needs it. I mean, this year's not been a great year for these guys, and boy, Elio would love to put last year behind him and make this one stick.
Yep.
But he would have to have an opening big enough to drive a moving truck, one of the Penske moving trucks through, for him to take. I think he'd be crazy to take a risk on Power after the contact he's had with him this year.
60 laps completed with
smoke off the Power's car.
Yeah.
That's brake smoke. He's probably locking the tires up. That's what Elio would love to see, him doing a lot more than that.
Let's take you through the field once again. Kevin, we'll start with you.
Well, before the last round of green flag pit stops, Will Power's advantage was over 5 seconds. Now it's 0.6 of a second on his teammate Elio Castroneves. He actually has a Canadian connection. His grandmother was born in Canada and worked in Alberta most of her career in her life. Let's go to Robbie.
Neves in second place. He didn't know what he'd have when it come race time because of the braking issue. The car doesn't handle because it doesn't stop. He said if he can't get this thing to stop like he wants it to, he has a top 3 car. He's in second right now, pushing hard for the lead. Kevin?
Franchitti fell all the way back to 13th position. He had to essentially stop to avoid the contact with E.J. Viso and Scott Dixon, so he's back in a good position. He may not get a second straight win, but he has an opportunity for the podium. Robbie?
Many words out of the number 6 of Brian Briscoe. Hardly any changes throughout the day. When I talked to Roger Penske, he says we're going to try and beat him out of the pits. That's exactly what he didn't do that last stop. Dario Franchitti got by him. Now it drops Briscoe back into 4th. Lindy?
Tony Kanaan, good on fuel to the end. He obviously recovered from a bad pit stop earlier. His inside front had a problem with the tire. He lost several spots, but we know TK, and he's known to make those back up. Robbie?
Justin Wilson in 6th spot. We saw that little bobble when he comes out. You have cold tires. You expect that, but he has the tires, the grip that he's expecting. They weren't new primaries. They are scuffed primaries of the 22. Justin Wilson, 6th and 6th.
Danica Patrick coming here to Edmonton after taking a mini vacation with her husband. Some precious time off for her. She seems to have found that consistency she was looking for. Her first pit stop, they did a half turn of front wing. The last time, they did no changes, only took the red tires, Robbie.
Sebastian Bourdais coming off his best finish of the year, a 6th at Toronto. The 05-07 winner at Newman Haas has been struggling this week, but you'd have to think he's pretty pleased. About 8th place right now if he can just keep things together. This is a car that did not handle in practice. It's handling pretty good in the top 10 right now. Alex Tagliani in 9th, the number 77 Bauer and Wilkins car. He's been running strong. The car is a little bit loose right now. He does not like the reds. The guy's been lucky. He tore off that front wing. He served penalties. He stalled it, and he's still holding in the top 10, Kevin.
Ryan Hunter-Reay was running up at the front before his chrome horn led to a penalty. Went to the back. He's worked his way back up somewhat in contention, up in the top 10. Right after the penalty, he was told, you have the best car out there. Hang in there. Mike Conway right behind him in 11th. He's in much the same situation. He also served the penalty. He did not feel like he had a great car all weekend. He has had difficulty turning. This is the best the car has been all weekend.
And there you have the top 11 with Ryan Hunter-Reay trying to gain a position here. And will be able to do it. That's Alex Tagliani that he passed going into turn number 1. So Ryan Hunter-Reay moves to 9th. Tagliani back to 10th, and then Mike Conway right behind Alex.
Well, you've heard on the radio before, you've got the best car out there, right?
You know what?
That's very common.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I think Hunter-Reay does have a good car. I think he's got the best car out there so far I've seen under braking. I think he made a mistake there on that incident, but I think he does have a very good race car.
It's a good battle up front between Team Penske drivers. Will Power currently the leader, but right behind by a amount of car lengths is Helio Castroneves. So far in this race here at Edmonton, Alberta. We've got less than 20 laps to go, and Will Power has a lead over Helio Castroneves of only a couple of car lengths, and in 3rd position, Dario Franchitti is also a player. Here's Kevin.
Tim Cindric is on the stand for Will Power. All right, you've got a teammate, Helio Castroneves, right behind. How does that change things for Will? Is there any chance his teammate, who's battling for a championship, would pass him?
Right now, I mean, there's no team orders, and Helio's here to win the race, so I'm sure Helio will race him fair, but he'll race him for sure.
How's everything with the car? Any issues for Power?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's going to come down to the last 10 laps or so, and it's going to be a matter of this lap traffic, see what happens.
May have no issues with fuel. A change of events for Tim Cindric. Remember, he was on the stand last year for Castroneves. When Power tried to pass him, Castroneves was called for the blocking/defending penalty.
And we've also had some good racing between Sebastian Bourdais and Danica Patrick. Here comes Danica. She's currently running in 7th position, but she and Sebastian have had a back and forth here.
He shoots up the inside, but overshoots. That's the classic pass and repass. Danica takes advantage of that. Certainly can't fault Sebastian Bourdais for trying, but didn't work out so well.
Down to Robbie.
For the nuclear clean air injured driver, Simona Di Silvestro. Simona, what happened? We saw you dead in the water.
Yeah, we had a clutch failure pretty much. You know, we accomplished our last stop and the clutch just gave up. So, you know, it's a little bit disappointing. It was pretty tough for us the whole weekend, but, you know, we definitely made progress. And the nuclear clean air energy car, I think, could have had an okay finish, but pretty disappointing to finish the weekend like this.
You were in the top 10. You don't use a clutch when you're out there driving. Could you feel anything? Could you hear anything?
Well, you know, you don't really use the clutch, and, you know, it's just when I went out and accelerated, it wouldn't really go into gear. You know, it was really slipping, and then it just gave up. So you can't do anything about it. You know, sometimes it happens, and it's just a shame that it happened to us.
And unfortunately, Bob, she was in a top 10 position.
And she is only the 3rd car out of the race. The other two, Paul Tracy and Graham Rahal, both eliminated in a first lap crash. But those are the 3 cars out of the race. Scott Dixon is shown as 23rd, the last of the runners. He is 6 laps down because of the incident that we had earlier in the race.
Castroneves is using more brakes, I believe, than Power. If you watch coming off this next corner, I think Power gets off the slower corners a little bit better. He's got better mechanical grip. To see how Castroneves makes up so much ground under braking. But then this is where Power will just drive off a little bit, and then Castroneves gets him back under braking.
Let's not count Dario out either.
No, he's just sitting there licking his chops right now. Well, let's watch the brake pressure. I'm curious to see what the pressures are between, say, Castroneves and Power. I'm not sure that.
We'll revisit that at a later date.
Take a look at that again.
Like the same as you. Looks like the same as you.
Yeah, but Castroneves is definitely getting into the corners harder. Now, he's probably using up more brake pad. He's probably, got more heat in it. But I think if he can get close enough to Power going into 1, 5, or 13, he'll make a move on him.
This is good stuff.
Yeah.
He is definitely within striking distance. There's no question. It's just going to take one slip, and he's close enough to pounce.
And, of course, Frankini's hoping the same thing happens at Long Beach, where he just drives past both of them.
Down to Robbie.
With John Erickson, who's calling the shots for Elio Castroneves. You called the shots for Will Power when he won here in 09. What are you telling Elio?
Well, we want to win this thing. Obviously, Will's trying to win the championship, but I think we're a little bit quicker, and we got Dario right up our tail there, so we're just going to have to go for the win.
Elio was really concerned about the brakes. He didn't know what they would do. Are you a little bit surprised he's as fast or can stop as fast as he can? You told me you did a total redo.
We replaced pretty much everything. He was happy with him in the morning warm-up, and it's been fine all day, so he's good. Guys have done good down here in the pits. See what happens.
You know he wants to win this race probably more than anyone other than Indy. Is there any word to him? Are there any team orders?
Not right now.
That'll race.
We're going to try to win it.
All right, you heard it, guy.
And that's not, John Erickson, this is not a full-time gig for him.
Right.
This is a pretty good part-time gig for him, but, he's doing a great job down there. Obviously having a blast.
Been around racing for many years.
Well, you never want to break, though, the #1 rule in racing, and that is don't take out your teammate. So he has to balance that, even if he sees an opportunity.
And he's thinking about it, obviously, because he's done it.
He's done it already this year.
This is the 7th race that Will has led this year. He led in all 6 street and road course races, and of course, he won on the oval in Texas. Laps winding down, and Will continues to hang on to the lead.
It's like his car, Castroneves got a little bit of a push. You can see when the car's turning, the front end slides out. And I think that's what he's struggling a little. Let's watch the pressures here. Let's watch Castroneves, what he's using. Boy, it didn't look like much. I mean, it was a 600, 640 in there.
Now, on the button behind you.
Take a look at it one more time here, going into this corner.
Look at Elio.
That was about 750 we saw there.
Now we switch to Will Power.
These are lighter braking areas in here, but the big test, of course, will be coming up to 13, Wally.
.749, although you saw Castroneves gain on him there, but that's where he's losing all his time right here off this last corner.
You have one more than him right now. You got one more than he does. 10 to go at the line. 10 to go.
Power has 8 overtakes left. Castroneves 7th. Danica Patrick is being challenged by Ryan Hunter-Reay for 8th position. All kinds of good racing going on. 10 laps to go here at Edmonton, Alberta, with Will Power having a great battle with his teammate Elio Castroneves.
For 125 years, Sunoco's been propelling people forward.
to their destinations and to their victories. And as of 2011, we'll do the same for some of the world's greatest drivers as we become an official fuel partner of IndyCar. We'll fuel their victories the same way we've been fueling yours. Because winning is the greatest feeling in the world.
Hey, Mario.
Hey, what do you got in this thing?
16 valve, 2.4 liter engine, 200 horsepower. Air conditioning.
32 valve, 3.5 liter engine, 650 horsepower, air conditioning.
You could start an IZOD IndyCar race with Mario Andretti. Go to shophonda.com to enter and check out the all-new Civic, the official vehicle of IndyCar.
As City Financial, we were always there to help our customers through life's changes with personalized loan solutions. Now, as One Main Financial, that commitment remains the same. How do I know? I work there, and I live here.
One Main Financial. Your needs, your goals, your dreams.
Dan Hardy. Dynamic. Unforgiving. Chris Lytle. Powerful. Relentless. Witness the collision as two of the UFC's pound-for-pound toughest fighters clash toe-to-toe. Plus, Jim Miller, Ben Henderson, the highly anticipated battle between two of the top lightweights in the world. Primed for a title shot. The UFC, live and free on Versus.
Top three all stacked up for you. Will Power followed closely by Elio, followed closely by Dario. First, second, and third with 9 laps to go and soon to be 8 laps to go.
I think Castellanos is hoping that Charlie Kimball will get in the way a little bit of Will Power. Of course, Will Power's hoping he'll get out of the way.
Charlie Kimball is the last car on the lead lap in 19th position. So at the moment, 19 cars on the lead lap.
He will therefore fight hard to stay there. Tim Cindric, of course, said that lap traffic was his concern at that point.
Kevin is with Chip Ganassi.
Chip, your driver, Dario, runs third. How much will he press the issue with a comfortable lead in the championship?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he gets an opportunity, I think he certainly will. It's not, you know, nothing's a foregone conclusion here yet.
Car pretty good for him today?
Yeah, the car's pretty good. You know, we're on blacks. Those guys are on reds. You know, if he can have a go at him, he will. If not, he's not going to take any chances, I don't think.
Okay, Franchitti running third, hoping for an opportunity to pounce on Castroneves.
It's getting close. See if Kimball gets out of the way.
Ryan Hunter-Reay going to the inside of his teammate, Danica Patrick.
Ryan Hunter-Reay moves to 8th.
He's on the button behind you.
They're both on the button.
Yeah,
exactly. And Castroneves right now. Yep.
Oh.
Campbell locks it up, so no issue.
Well,
there you go.
Yep, that's one way to do it.
So Power has 5 pushes left. Rather, Power has 6. Castroneves and Franchitti 5 overtake assists.
Well, so much for lap traffic. Now it just comes down to mano a mano. Now, we've talked about the #1 rule in racing, and that is don't take out your teammate. Well, Castroneves, remember, he had different colors there. He was red, white, and blue. Got into his teammate right there. Pow! Sorry about that, Will. And I think one of the best moves I've seen in a long time is this pirouette by Oriol Serbia, and somehow found a gap. Now, they didn't play that on the big screen, so Castroneves wouldn't have seen that. That was just for our enjoyment. But there's no question, Wally, that that's still in the back of his mind.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to have to make sure that he can pull this pass off. It's just that the problem is Power's just getting off the corners way, better than Elio right now. So unless Power slips up or makes some kind of a mistake, it's going to be really difficult for Castroneves to get that close to try to outbreak him. And Power doesn't make too many mistakes.
No, definitely not. And all he's been talking about since Toronto, other than Dario Franchitti, is that when I get to Edmonton, I want a clean race. I want a clean race. And so far, he has been clean as a whistle. And his main concern is when he sees that yellow car in the mirrors.
Let's not forget about Takuma Sato, who started this race from pole position and led the first 18 laps. But then there was this contact between Ryan Hunter-Reay and Sato that has dropped Sato one lap down. He is currently in 21st, and it did result in a penalty for Ryan Hunter-Reay, but he has battled his way back to the 8th position. Back of the first 3, you see 4th position Ryan Briscoe and 5th Tony Kanaan.
That's probably worth also saying that next year's car that they're working on should have.
You have to save one to have one on the last lap.
Listening to the chatter about the overtakes, I'm going to say that the new car is going to have anti-stall technology. So what you saw happen to Sato next year should not happen, because he could simply put it in gear and take off. It's a technology that as soon as the RPM of the engine gets too low and is going to stall, it dips the clutch, something similar they use in Formula One.
And that's good.
Yeah,
because that'll help these guys a lot. Obviously, Sato wouldn't have lost a lap if they would have had that.
And onboard starters, people have talked about a lot, but they're just way too heavy for these cars. But the anti-stall thing should work fine.
I'm taking a look.
Yeah, he is.
Briscoe's got 9 overtakes left. Kanaan only has 3. So Tony's been using them up.
Alex Tagliani makes a pit stop late here. He needs some fuel to finish the distance.
And as you said earlier, Jan, he did not have enough. Plus they had a bunch of cautions, which we haven't had today.
There you see there'll be 38 points separating first and second, as Power is going to gain quite a few here this afternoon if he can go on and win this race. We hear that Ryan Briscoe, running back and forth, is very short on fuel.
You'll remember the pit stop when Roger Penske was saying, we need to fill it up, we need to fill it up, you know, needs to be full, and that was why. He knew if they pitted on that lap that it would be tight.
It's been 25 laps since Ryan was on pit lane. Ryan Briscoe.
Justin Wilson back there in the 6th spot right behind Kanaan, having a pretty good day.
Yeah, he is. And so Sebastian Bourdais, he's going to get a good finish out of this. Justin started 15th and is currently 6th. There is Sebastian Bourdais, who started 12th, and he currently is 7th.
Wow, you can sure see the bumps. That was a great look. It's just a car that leaps off the ground.
Flexing too, left to right there. Very cool shot.
Oh, Powers. You know, Dario might.
Franchitti's been using up the pushes to passes too. The last lap, he's used like 2 or 3 of them.
Now 3 laps to go.
There's a car ahead.
Serbia, yeah.
Well, all right then.
Serbia's 3 laps down in 21st.
I think Serbia will pretty much get out of their way quite a bit. I mean, he's been around a long time, great driver. I'm sure the team is letting him know where the leaders are.
We certainly haven't seen the banging and hitting and knocking people out of the way that we saw in Toronto, but we've had good on-track racing.
I love this layout.
I do too.
It's a really, it gives these guys a lot of opportunities to pass. Nice and wide.
And just as you said, Oriol Serbia goes to the left, backs off completely, lets the 3 leaders go by.
Class move.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Hildebrand and Mira for 11th.
Here it comes.
Oh, nice slingshot there.
Yeah, can he stop? That's the thing. Can he stop in time?
Crossover?
Nice.
Oh, no.
Good move. Very good move.
J.R. Hildebrand to 11th. Saw that the Panther team rewarded his 500 effort with a 66 Chevy Chevelle that was JR's dream car. Got that in the last couple of weeks.
JR's got 10 overtakes left. Mira had none.
Castro Neves now has closed the gap for a while there. It looked like he was potentially in trouble with Franchitti behind, but now it's closed in a bit.
He's going to use more brakes than he's ever used probably in these next 2 laps. He's just got to be careful he doesn't blow it and let Franchitti get by him.
Coming down for the white flag. One more lap to go.
White flag here, white flag. He's on
They're both on the overtake. Basically keeps him even.
And the interval specifically is 0.7 seconds, and Briscoe is having to make a pit stop, relinquishing 4th place.
Yeah, guys, there was like a ticking clock. They knew it might have to happen, and Roger was waiting to the last moment. In the last lap, this is the last moment, unfortunately. Flash and go.
Wow, 1 lap from finish in a 4th place. But that will put Tony Kanaan up into 4th place now as Briscoe will make his way slowly out of pit lane. Here comes the man of the day once again. Power is just so good at street and road courses, and that's where we will be in 2 weeks at Mid-Ohio. Interval remains about the same unless there's a major problem in turn 13. We're going to see Mr. Power back in the winner's circle.
Franchitti right there.
Nope, can't do it. Well, the Eyes on IndyCar Series 2011 visit to Canada about to end, from Toronto's Power and Franchitti fracas to today's battle between Power and Elio. And Will Power wins at Edmonton. Franchitti runs 3rd behind Castro Neves.
I think Franchitti will come up and congratulate him.
Make eye contact.
Yeah.
There's Kanaan, Wilson, and Bourdais finishing 4th, 5th, and 6th, and the burnouts are underway already. Very impressive. Will Power records another win. It's his 13th career victory and his 4th win this year, having also won at Barber, Brazil, and the 2nd race at Texas. Also his 2nd win here at Edmonton. He also took the checkered flag first in 2009. Power, your winner.
Edmonton Indian Versus is brought to you by Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD IndyCar Series, and by One Main Financial, your needs, your goals, your dreams.
Will Power wins his 4th race of the year. Disappointed 2 weeks ago in Toronto, but is in victory lane here this afternoon at Edmonton, Alberta. Here is Will Power, and Kevin Lee will be there to talk with him.
Power standing atop the side pod. Let's see if he does the leap that we've seen with his wins so far this year. Will can entertain us. He wins for the 4th time this season, his 13th IndyCar win. And there's a modified Will Power leap. His pole streak was snapped yesterday, 8 straight on non-ovals, but he gets back to victory lane. Considering what has happened in the last 2 races, what does this win mean for you?
It meant a lot. You know, we really need to come back here and win, and just to get the confidence back in the team and get that Verizon car back in victory lane is awesome. I mean, that was so hard at the end. tires had gone off. I was struggling under brakes. I was trying to keep Elio behind. So, man, that was really, really happy.
You've been pretty fired up the last couple of weeks. Has your mindset changed? Did your focus or approach change at all coming into this race?
Yeah, I thought I'm going to be more aggressive in the race. I thought I just have to be, you know. We can't lose any more points to Dario. And, man, you know, I just got to thank Verizon, Maya, Coke, Mazak, and just Team Penske for, you know, all the support. And back in victory lane with the Verizon car. Really happy.
We just saw the pass for the lead. Dixon got by you earlier. You got back by him, and then you got by Sato. I think that was coming into 13.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he made a bit of a mistake, got a run on him, and yeah, and then we had the restart with Mike Conway. He started really late, but yeah, good day, good day. I just drove every lap like qualifying. It was really good.
38 now behind Franchitti. Do you feel like you're back in the championship mix now?
Yeah, it's definitely closer, and we just got to keep doing this, you know, just keep chipping away, sort of like he did with us last year. So it's really happy, you know. It was a really good race for me.
This has got to be the easiest way to deal with a frustrating month.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, absolutely. Just for the guys, man, all the work they put in, and you know, and the team, just to get some team morale, 1-2. It's really good.
Will Power wins for the second time here at Edmonton, first time on the new course, and it is his fourth win in Canada.
And officially an 0.8 of a second victory over his teammate Helio Castroneves. Dario was third, then Kanaan, Wilson, Bourdais finishes sixth. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Conway, Patrick, and Briscoe complete the top 10. A lot more drivers to talk to, and we will continue to do that when we return to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Will Power wins the Edmonton Indy from City Center Airport in Edmonton, Alberta. The second and final race of the year in Canada. The Firestone pit performers of the race. Not Will Power, but his teammate Helio Castroneves, as his team spent a total of 57.9 seconds getting Helio in and out of pit lane. Here is Kevin Lee.
Dixon was maybe an innocent bystander of what happened. You finished 23rd, 6 laps back after the contact with Viso. I was listening to your radio. It sounded like you said, get me back out there. I'm going to take him out. Did I misunderstand that?
No, I think it was right. You know, at that point, I was definitely going to take him out. But obviously, once we got through the race and cooled off a little bit, you know, you get sick and tired of people doing bonehead moves. And the car that, you know, I saw it coming in the mirror, but I had nowhere to go. But coming from 6 cars back and taking out somebody, you know, I don't know if he was looking at somebody in the stands or something. Not really paying attention, but you know, it ruined a good day for our car. We had a great car. I think we had a car that you know, had the possibility to win as long as everything went right. But you know, unfortunately, it's just kind of been the way our season goes this year. You know, we've been qualifying well, we've been up the front and had good cars, but it just hasn't been going our way.
And more than 100 points back in the championship as he loses another 20-plus points. Robbie?
Looks like Dario Franchitti and Will Power are finally talking as I'm getting to stand next to Helio Castroneves, and I heard a lot of talking out of you last year, but a lot of smiles this year.
Oh, big time. I have to thank Penske Truck Rental, you know, everybody from Team Penske, obviously, AAA, Guide Point System, Verizon, all my associates, because Comfort Revolution, I mean, everyone AAA, I mean, there's so many, but I got to thank all of it because they believe me. The Shell Special believe me, Pennzoil, and I'm very glad to be able to put this car right up there.
Your guys are quickest in the pits, but also did a good job out there getting those brakes going. And I thought it was just something this weekend, but you said it's been 10 races that you've had problems with these brakes.
So unfortunately, it's one of those things, you know, you ask your guy, hey man, what's going on? He's like, I think it's this, I think it's that, and we kind of pick every single thing, and finally we're able to fix for the race. I told you, once we fix it, it will be no problem. I had a chance to do something with Will, but again, it was a little bit tough. I need a solid result, and this is a very solid result.
Helio finishes second, still looking for that first win to keep that 12-year winning streak, Lindy Thaxton, but boy, he had a lot of black on that nose as well. It was a rough day for Helio.
Okay, Dario, because we just saw it, what'd you guys talk about?
Well, I can't tell you the first thing we said because we have a kind of a name that we call each other. Actually, before Toronto, we called each other. It's not particularly polite, but no, I just went up and said good job to Will, and then we were talking about the race and stuff. And you know, as I said, for me, Toronto was in the past, and
so that's all good.
And let's talk about today. The final restart looked like it really affected your race. What happened?
Yeah, it did, and it was totally my fault there. I had it in my head I had to stay behind the car in front in line. So Conway was going very, very slowly up there. And when it did go, I got a really good start, but then I thought, oh man, I've got to stay behind whoever was in front. And then an Elio and a bunch of the guys just freight trained us. So I totally screwed that bit up. I had it in my head to stay behind, and I was wrong. So that lost me a couple of places, and then down there I was about to get Viso back, and he speared into the side of Scott and took Scott out. So I feel really bad for Scott. He's just having no luck right now. But that put us back to 10th, and then we were able to make a couple of spots. And then when I got clean air, I mean, I went a second a lap quicker as soon as I got clean air. Came in, did that pit stop, had a good out lap, and caught like 5 seconds up on Will and Elio, but once I got there, I couldn't do anything with them.
And what about the fact you were on black tires, everyone around you on reds? Were you worried about that?
No, I wasn't, because my last lap on blacks before I pitted was my quickest lap of the race, I think, in the second segment. So I did the old, when Chris asked me what I wanted, I said, oh no, I'll leave it to you, man. I didn't take any responsibility, but then when I saw that lap time, I said, I think we've got to have blacks here. And it was obviously the right choice, and we were able to catch those guys, as I say, but I lost track position on that restart and couldn't recover from it. But third from where we were running in 10th, I was. It's not a bad day. So a great job by Team Target, both cars, and again, Scott's just got no luck right now, and I feel bad for him.
Dario, meanwhile, points leader by 38.
I wonder if it's the same word I use for you.
Well, let's compare their seasons. 4 wins for each driver. Dario leads the points by 38, and Dario still is the only driver to have completed every single lap of the 2011 season. More when we return to Edmonton.
Welcome back to the Edmonton Indy. Will Power takes the victory as tens of thousands of fans make their way out of this venue. A new circuit, but a winner from 2009, and a guy who's glad to be back in the top 5. Your 5th this year is Tony Kanaan on the KB Racing Machine. You equaled your mark of last year with Andretti already.
Yeah, that's a good result. I think it was a good day. It was good to be out there with people who knew what they're doing. Me and Justin and Dario and me and Ryan, and we had a great battle, and nobody took each other out, and it was a clean race. So too bad for my teammates. I think we had 3 very strong cars to finish, 3 cars in the top 10, but 4th in the championship, and not bad.
Yeah, you flip-flop with Scott Dixon. He had the trouble this week, but how much fun were you having out there today, really?
Nah, it was fun. I mean, it's really good to race with people that know what they're doing. So very happy, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, guys, back to you, Bob.
Tony Kanaan with a good finish here at Edmonton. As far as the points are concerned, we've already showed you that Will Power now begins to gain on Dario Franchitti just a bit. And after 11 races, it's 38 points here, separating first and second. Scott Dixon more than 100 points back now. The conclusion of the Tour de France is coming up next. Summer at Saratoga continues Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern with the Diana. Be sure to join us in 2 weeks, Sunday, August 7th, for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio at 2 o'clock Eastern. IZOD, the official apparel of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. For more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. Will Power wins here at the Edmonton City Circuit. And for Jan Beekes, Wally Dallenbach, Robbie Floyd, Kevin Lee, Lindy Thaxton, and Robin Miller, I'm Bob Jenkins. See you in 2 weeks at Mid-Ohio.